Oh, we have a game code? Sorry, I was AFK a sec.
I smoke too much, I drink too much. I tell myself that I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. That I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. Clearly now. Clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. I smoke too much, I drink too much. I tell myself that I can't stop. We could see clearly now. 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 Clearly now. Clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. That I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly. I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now.
And welcome to the Reverie Esports tournament, and my overlay is being funky. Let me fix that real quick.
All right, and while he fixes that, I'll continue on with the intro here. We've got our monthly buy-in tournament here for Reverie. I'm not even sure which number we're on. Do you know what number we're on, Effects?
This is the November buy-in, actually, so it's not technically a number.
Oh, okay. We don't number these ones?
We haven't
That's
been, but we
unfortunate.
could. I just have to go back and count how many we've done.
Well, for anyone who is interested in what number we're on, you can go back through our records and figure it out. But we are on the November buy-in.
Is this our fourth
Yes.
or fifth buy-in? Maybe it's only a third or
Is it?
fourth.
I thought we were deeper into them than that. I thought we were like 5 or 6 at least. But
Maybe it's...
one way or another, it's where we congregate all the best teams from all of the weekly tournaments that we do, as well as anybody else who feels like buying their way in, thinks they can throw their hat into the ring and come out victorious. And so we get the best of the best here at Reverie and toss them all together onto the Rift.
And speaking of the best, this is Ignitus on blue team. And on the red side, we have Supernova. They'll be facing off
definitely two.
Yeah, they'll be facing off in the first the first semifinals of this evening.
Mm-hmm. Definitely two of the better teams that we've had pass through here at Reverie. Both of them have claimed multiple victories at our buy-in tournaments, if I recall correctly. Supernova in particular is an organization with quite a pedigree in the amateur scene, though Ignitus are no slouches for sure. Recognize some of the names over there, Burai in particular. And I'm excited to get onto the Rift. Some interesting bans. Vayne has been seeing a lot of play recently, so that could just be a meta ban, could be focused towards Yeniar. But it will be a Jax first pick. That's something we haven't seen in a while.
We definitely don't see a lot of Jax anymore. He can,
let alone as the first pick.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what they pick against at Jax if they try to play around it somehow. It's been so long since I've seen a Jax, I don't know how well he fits into the meta. I know that he still can, if he gets a lead, he can scale out of a hand, but beyond that, it's been too long.
Yeah, he's sort of a flavor of choice for some players, but not really still a meta choice. He's certainly not terrible in the current meta, but he doesn't fit into quite as many team compositions as some other top laners. Well, he's not as reliable, you could say. But yeah, as you say, if he gets out of hand, he gets way out of hand. Karma and Hecarim, though, grabbed together is the start of a beautiful composition for Supernova. I mean, those two picks alone is sort of the spearhead composition, and behind that they can toss a Sivir if they want to invest even further, or they can just sort of opt for some good all-rounders in their other lanes of Victor mid, Caitlyn AD carry, things like that.
Definitely is a solid set of first picks, and we're waiting on these next two picks. We're hovering on a Morgana and a Malphite, which I don't think that's going to be a Malphite. No, it's going to be a Malphite.
No, it is. I'd imagine it's a Malphite top lane then and a Jax jungle. That seems more likely to me, though I suppose Malphite jungle is possible as well, even mid lane.
Mid lane AP Malphite.
We have such a strange set of beginning picks here from Ignitus that I really don't want to call any particular lane directions, but I think the most likely would be Jax jungle and Malphite top, and then Morgana either mid or support. So that does... We know for sure they at least have their 80 carry still to pick. And I suppose there's an advantage to picking strange, maneuverable picks this early on in the draft. The people over at Supernova know just as little about what they're picking into as we do. And it'll be a Shen Kog'Maw. So that is two portions of a sort of spearhead charge composition with the Karma and Hecarim. And then they are two portions of a protect the 80 carry composition. Interesting set of first four picks here.
Karma can kind of protect Kog'Maw as well with the shield boost. It'll be interesting to see what they pick as the last pick, because it could technically be a Kog'Maw middle, and they could go with another more traditional AD carry. But
we have seen that before, yeah.
It's definitely possible, so we'll have to see if they go with that or if they go with something else. Another utility mid laner, possibly.
I think the cannon would be really interesting here. It actually works really well with Malphite. It allows you to hold people up in a given area for Kennen to destroy them with all of his AoE.
Very good follow-up initiation.
One way or another, though, they've got themselves a strange composition, so really regardless of what they pick, they're going to be playing to the edge cases. It'll be a Ahri, so that's not the mid lane Malphite. Likely top Malphite, jungle Jax. Ari mid, of course, and then Morgana Caitlyn duo. So the final pick just has to come through for Supernova, and I'm pretty certain it'll be their mid laner, though I suppose it could be Karma mid, and they could go with another support.
He's hovering Nocturne, but I don't think it's going to be a Nocturne, not when they have a Hecarim available. Though I suppose they could take Hecarim to lane. I just don't. No, they have a Shen, so they can't do that. Unless it's something silly
No.
like a Shen support.
AD mid Nocturne is the only place that could go, but I really doubt that's going to happen. I've seen it a grand total over my almost 3 years of casting now, once. It was interesting for sure, and actually pretty darn powerful, but very, very situational.
Yeah, I could see why. He's still hovering it, but he's going to switch to Orianna at the last second, which makes a significant more amount of sense. Combo as well with Hecarim, and can also protect Kog'Maw as well with the shield.
Yeah, I actually quite like the composition that Supernova has drafted. Pretty sort of standard across the board outside of Orianna and Shen are kind of old school, and then Kog'Maw, of course, is a oddity in the current meta, but he's still very capable just as a damage source. His main weakness, of course, is that he can be dove and he can be eliminated by assassins and hard tank divers, and they've got those on the side of Ignitus. They've got Malphite, they've got Jax even, and Ari, so they have tools to deal with Kog'Maw, but it could be a little difficult through Shen and Orianna.
Definitely will be interesting to see how they deal with the dive comp, and I'm wondering how this Jax is gonna build. Probably warrior, I imagine, into.
Actually, a lot of the times in jungle, you'll see the Devourer enchantment because Jax.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot Devourer was a thing. We never see Devourer.
Yeah, Warrior is still an option for sure, but he scales better off attack speed than he does off flat AD because he does both physical and magical damage.
I completely forgot Devourer exists because no one plays junglers who build Devourer at these tournaments.
Hey, I play Aatrox.
I was saying at these tournaments. I was not saying in general.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Though I think we saw a Devourer last night on what was it? What jungle pick was it? I can't recall. Anyways, it's been
either
so
way,
long.
it's a fairly rare item for junglers because we don't see those style of junglers. We usually see ones that either build a warrior or the other two.
Yeah, I'd say Cinderhulk, Runic Echoes, and Warrior are in a pretty good like sort of trinity right now. They're all equally used or close to being equally used. It is just Devourer that's kind of sitting on the sidelines and not one of the cool kids as far as the jungle enchantments go.
Yeah, it's just
But,
not quite
that's not
there.
a whole, I'd say.
So that is going to be about what we can do for the first minute of the spectator delay. For these last 2 remaining minutes, we are going to go ahead and take a small, tiny commercial break, and once we're in Champion Select, we'll be back. So don't go anywhere, guys.
It's never too late to admit when you're wrong. Turn a new leaf, see a new dawn. The time to decide has come and gone. Just give me a chance, we can carry on. I made my choice, these drums of your voice, they run through my head as I remember the day. Stay in this moment.
And we have returned to the Rift with a pause right at the gate.
Probably pretty fortunate that pause happened, though, as you may have returned to the Rift, but I'm still looking at a loading screen, actually. My client perhaps not as cooperative as yours is. So if any big flashy action does happen, Effect, you're going to have to take up the mantle of play-by-play, if only for a few minutes, while I load in.
Oh no, we're doomed!
Oh, there we go. I see the pause time.
And we're saved.
All right, good. Well, let me get that scoreboard up and all sorted, and yeah, we can talk a little bit more about these picks, since some of them are quite interesting before we get into the match here. It is going to be the Malphite top. He's not headed anywhere else, and that makes the most sense. And, I bring up the Malphite top, but then I immediately have to sort of digress, because that lane is, despite the fact that we're seeing Malphite, and we don't see that too often, honestly not that interesting, because it's Malphite versus Shen, and they're not going to do much.
They're gonna glare angrily at each other and just kind of, just you wait. We'll do things eventually.
Give me about a year, and maybe one of us will die, unless one of them builds full AD or AP. That would make it interesting, but somehow I doubt that's going to happen, since we are into the semifinals here, and
This is still gonna be a best of one.
yes, indeed, that is why we should make that note. This works just like our weekly open tournaments, where it is best of ones all the way down into the final, which is a best of three. So very easy to get yourself knocked out if you are playing something a little bit off the wall to try and test the waters a bit, which is why it's interesting to see a first pick Jax and a Kog'Maw on one hand and a Malphite on the other, like these unorthodox sort of picks. But we are in a time of great flux, known as the preseason. So I suppose there's going to be a lot of change.
I am concerned that Wreck That Tunnel is gonna get outscaled by, or not outscaled, but outpaced by
Yes.
Fanatilt?
Fanatilt.
Fanatilt.
Fun name. I like that name, actually.
I want to say Fanatic, but it doesn't have a C, so that's not correct at all.
It does not have a C. Well observed. In fact, well observed.
Fanatilt. I don't know, I'm not a dictionary.
No, I would hope you aren't, because I need you to be able to talk, and dictionaries can't do that last time I checked. But yes, Jax is in some danger of getting outpaced by a Hecarim jungle, but I don't think it's as bad as perhaps it seems on first look. Jax's first jungle clear is kind of rough, but once he manages to get back to base, pick up perhaps a few more pieces of his jungle item or the completed thing, he does just fine.
It's just that first clear, he has the
Yeah.
potential to... Maybe he'll just do one buff and then, do a sneaky gank onto bot or something, pop a flash. That's something
Yeah,
I would
and
consider.
there's actually some really interesting paths you can take now because of the new jungle. There is a patch, I believe it just went live, though I may be incorrect on that, which makes it so that Krugs are worth even more XP than they used to be before. So if you take the time to do a buff, a blue or red buff, depending on which side of the map you're on, and then go directly to Krugs and finish that off. So actually, I suppose it would be red buff either way. You can end up level 3 after 2 camps with a red buff. And theoretically, that sort of clear on somebody like Jax, who can then come out of the jungle and look for a strong gank or something, could be really good.
No, we're hearing... I'm hearing chatter, but I have the chat turned off.
Yeah, it looks like one of the players needs to restart their router really quick, so he's coming back in as soon as he can. So it should be just another few moments at the very, very most.
That is a good thing, because obviously we want to give our viewers the viewing experience that they deserve.
Do we? Oh, okay. I'll turn my mic off then. Sorry. Self-deprecating humor. It's the best kind.
It is humor that is greatly appreciated and loved all around the world.
Nobody can be mad at you for making fun of yourself.
And if there was a person who did that, that would be very unusual. And let's see. Looking at the comps here, I kind of like both comps, actually. Other than the Jax is kind of a regular pick, but it's not terrible. They have a dive, but they also have pick potential with Ari and Morgana.
I'm looking over some of the starting stats that we're seeing in all these characters, since we've got the time to do that, and we have the leisure here in this extensive pause. One of the interesting things that I'm seeing, there must be something pretty interesting going on with Yeniar's rune page because he's actually rocking 42 magic resistance to start off. Just to put that in perspective, that's an equivalent amount of magic resistance to the Shen or the Malphite here. Well, almost equivalent, just 1 or 2 points less.
30
A
base
lot of
plus. Does he have 30 base MR?
I don't actually know Kog'Maw's base MR off the top of my head. I'll
Because
cede that much.
30 plus, that would make it 12 from the glyphs. He's running magic resist glyphs, I guess. That's all I can think of.
Comparing it across the board to Burai, he's a full 7 points of magic resist higher, which means there's just a ton of respect for Dwayne Wade's Morgana, I suppose, because there really just isn't any magic damage coming out of a Caitlyn. 90 caliber net is negligible. It's either that or he's looking to protect himself against the burst from Aethys's Ahri, but you'd think that scaling MR would be a little better for that purpose, since it would take effect later on in the game when you're being assaulted by an assassin, unlike in the laning phase. It's an interesting point to hit, and it's one of those little bits of minutiae that can make the difference in a very close game.
We'll have to see if it makes the difference. We've seen some Morgana play that can be downright amazing here at Reverie, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well Dwayne Wade does.
Now you've got me curious. I'm actually going to look up Kog'Maw's.
I'm pretty positive it's 30. It has to be 30. That makes the most sense
to
me.
Base MR is 30.
Ha!
So he's got a total of 12 magic resistance coming from runes and masteries, which is a good amount. He's got to be sacrificing somewhere for that. I'd imagine health or damage or something along those lines.
He's probably just running, has to be glyphs, because I believe 9 flat glyphs of magic resistance, 12. So he's probably
it's just the difference between flat and scaling that's interesting to me, because really I don't think a Morgana is worth all that much respect. And the flat is not going to help as much against an Ahri one-shotting you in the late game as scaling would. Not that either is really going to stop Ahri from one-shotting you, but in the game of inches it can matter, I suppose. But let's get back into the game at hand, since we're out of the pause, and we are looking to go into a pretty standard defense on the side of Supernova, but Ignitus is stacking 5 men.
We're seeing that Supernova with Cuckville at the top there, not being a little slow to the pickup. He bot late and is heading to lane.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
And Ignitus just kind of chilling, maybe looking for an opportunity. If it is, say, if Philly comes up to ward, maybe they could get a snare on him, because they do have the Charm and the Morgana snare. I don't think they've picked it yet.
Oh, no.
Oh, my.
We're into a pause again. This is a defensive start as far as the low ones go, though, because just as evidenced by their lack of movement after grouping as 5, they're simply waiting for someone to turn the wrong corner, and that is less likely to result in action, but results in very favorable action whenever it works out.
You always catch somebody by surprise, maybe you get a kill, you almost always pop a flash.
And it looks like whatever solution was used to resolve the previous issue, it didn't quite stick, because we're having the same player needing to reconnect again. So hopefully this time around, whatever solves it is going to solve it for good and not for 3 minutes, because it takes a little longer than that for a League of Legends game.
Very much so. Hopefully we don't break our record of sepia screen, which was 20 minutes, I believe.
Oh no, don't even bring that up. There aren't too many points left to hit here that are all that relevant at the level 1. I mean, we can take note of the fact that Cavelli started with Cloth and 4 rather than a Doran Shield or Doran's Blade, which are the usual starting choices.
Curious choice, because Malphite isn't really going to be auto-attacking except maybe to proc.
Well, you do take a lot of physical damage in pretty much any lane in the early levels. The auto attacks will be like at least 50%, I'd say, of the damage from a Malphite in levels 1 through like 5. And then after that, you're also taking physical damage from minions, because oftentimes a level 1, 2, 3 duel, something like that, a good portion of the damage you take in that sort of duel is from the minion wave that you're fighting in. So Cloth is certainly going to it's not going to be useless, and it allows him to pick up 4 health pots, I suppose. That's like activatable sustain.
That is true. Well, maybe he wants to rush an early Sunfire.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It is true that one of Shen's weaknesses is he doesn't have much in the way of wave clear, so Sunfire is definitely a very, very useful item on him.
The main weakness I'd say of starting with cloth armor, as opposed to one of the Doran's items, or maybe even a ruby crystal, is that it leaves you with a lower health total, which leaves you more vulnerable to being bursted down. But that's really not a worry in a lane against Malphite. So that's one of the reasons why he has the flexibility to make this choice.
He would have to be running full AP every
Even
single
then,
room.
I don't think level 2 Malphite is
You
going
never
to be
know.
that big of an issue. Though, to be fair, boosted bear start is interesting as well. A lot of the times you'll see a Malphite start actually with a Doran's ring rather than a Doran's shield. Or
It
in
is
fact,
true. He
pretty
does
much
have.
any of the other
He
Doran's
can
items.
quickly run out of mana, so that additional mana per last hit is always very useful.
Mm-hmm. And he uses the AP quite well, and it's still got a bit of health attached to it, because it is the reason why we talk about AP Malphite, despite the fact that it's a little bit cheesy, is because Malphite does have good ratios. So he can actually use all of the stats on the Doran's ring, and as you say, the mana sustain is really nice. But level 1's going to fizzle out, and we can hopefully maintain a colored screen and not go back to the sepia toned one.
It looks like both junglers are going to be starting at the bottom side buff.
Mm-hmm. And this is actually an interesting point to hit. Now that you do start buffs, and now that buffs are solo camps, it's just the buff and no other monsters, things like Jungle Jax may actually start to make a little bit of a comeback, because the Jax is very much oriented towards single target damage, and with only one target to be hitting on these buff camps, which are the most important camps in the jungle, that does help out his clear a bit.
It's true. It's something I really hadn't considered, how they had redone some of the camps.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Raptors is going to be kind of rough because, of course, as I said, Jack is single target, and now there's like 7 Raptors or 6 Raptors there in the camp.
Something like that.
But the buffs are one of the bigger changes, and I think that's going to be quite good for him. Let's get into the bottom lane now, as the directed camera apparently wants us to go down here.
Nope.
Or maybe top. I don't know.
Cavelli being aggressive in that top side. We're seeing Yeti's actually taking some attacks here, which is not too surprising given that it is a Caitlyn lane.
There's the early level 2 from Cavelli as he goes in for a bit of a trade, but Shen v Malphite is not going to be too terribly exciting. We have seen Cavelli Shen before, and he was actually pretty dominant with it the last time we saw him. I believe it was in not a Malphite matchup, sorry, pardon me, a matchup into a tank as well, Nautilus if I recall. And he was able to play the matchup quite well. I keep wanting to say Malphite and not matchup. I'm just saying what I see on the screen. Octi see, Octi say. But it was because Shen has some moderate tank killing capabilities, and if he snowballs out of control, he does roll really well with levels in the early game. His base damage is solid.
Yeah. Jungle fight.
Yeah, Fanatilt discovered by Wreck That Tunnel, and Wreck That Tunnel's going to find himself a top laner, though, as Cavelli flashes and then shadow dashes in. Wreck That Tunnel is getting bursted down, and there's first blood to Cavelli. That'll certainly help him snowball out of control. Not only the first blood, but double buffs as well, as he continues to chase after Boosted Bear here. He's going to back away, perhaps, as Ahri shows up, but actually, Ahri is the one to back down, with Orianna roaming from the mid lane, and Boosted Bear is continuing to be chased under this turret. If he doesn't burn Flash, he's going to go down. The red buff is ticking, but his health pod is as well, and so he'll get out alive.
It's really worth noting that Fanalit, or Fanatilt, I keep saying
Fanatilt.
Fanatic, Fanatilt.
Fatatally tootly tootly toot.
Yeah.
The Hecarim.
Once Jax started his stun animation for the dodging stuff, he used the speed boost to make sure he was out of range, and then once the stun ended, then he came back in and pushed Rek back into Cavelli.
Yeah. Playing around the Counter-Strike is pretty much key to playing around Jax in general, particularly as a physical damage-based character, relies on auto attacks and the like. The only
Fanatilt is going to go back and get a first item Sheen.
The only thing that I can say Supernova didn't do so hot in that engagement was Cavelli did go for the flash taunt as he shadow dashed and flashed mid animation to try and catch Wreck That Tunnel right at the start of the fight. and he just ended up just short of landing it. So
Definitely a little quick to the gun there, and not quite that low.
trade in the mid lane again between Filthy and Aethys. About even again.
It's
We
worth
got to keep in
noting
mind that Aethys has gone with Ignite.
Yes,
so
I was just
over
getting ready to
zone.
mention that, so that could be...
Yeah.
Filthy definitely needs to be watch out for that, because that could be trouble.
As Burai continues the pressure.
Burai doing Caitlyn things.
Yeah, and he really has no reason not to play that aggressively. They've got decent vision there, though they may not have decent enough vision with Hecarim looping in behind the Dragon Pit now. They're backing up, they're warding in the try. They're playing intelligently around this. They just got spotted by the Scryer's bush. I'm not even paying attention to the top lane, just watching the mini-map. As,
Oh, can't you see how exciting Shen versus Malphite is?
Oh man, it's just terribly exciting. As in, it is just terrible how unexciting it is. I'm sorry, I do not yearn for the days of old when we had Malphites and Shen living in the top lane and tanks for days. I understand the purpose they serve. They are a valuable part of Summoner's Rift's ecosystem. Tanks are boring to lane with. I'm going to say what we're all thinking.
I like laning against tanks as Aatrox, though, as they can't kill me.
Laning as Aatrox is not something I enjoy in the first place, however, but we dwell overlong on the issue of tanks, as we've got some interesting action on the bottom side. Burai is actually being pushed back there, and Yennear has managed to form a bit of a CS lead for himself, so perhaps a little too over-aggressive from Burai's play.
Cavelli actually in a really good spot here against Boosted Bear. Bear has no mana, no flash.
And Shen, of course, with that new Vorpal Blade, does some percentage damage, can actually break through tanks, but Boosted Bear is simply going to be allowed to walk away. Cavelli didn't have what it takes to keep chasing him. Boosted Bear drops the ward. Cavelli will now resume the hunt with Thanatil coming to the top lane to rampage right on over that mountain.
Boosted Bear not making the decision to... Hello.
Oh, there's the Counter-Strike begun right away. The stun actually landed as the pulled Thanatil away from the 1v1 and Wreck the Tunnel leap striked right after him. Good prediction from Wreck, realizing that he's going to be coming right through that way and waiting for him.
Able to get a nice, easy pickup kill and get revenge for earlier.
Let's see if we can manage another kill into Cavelli here. Cavelli has his own dodging mechanic. As Wreck the Tunnel drops the Counter-Strike as well, and Cavelli's going to maybe keep the fight going. Playing with fire a little bit there.
He's opting to go ahead and back. He's going to go ahead and probably grab the pieces for Sunfire and uses maybe teleport back, though he doesn't need to.
Good damage into Burai. Burai is going to take it and keep on going. Stepping forward to land a few more auto attacks here and there, but
and Boosted Bear,
I think the damage has been done in this lane already.
I have to agree there. It looks like Boosted Bear is actually going to go for an early Zerat portal. So I can think of.
Yeah, that would definitely make sense with those components that he's got there.
Or he's building a first item Guardian Angel, one of the two.
I think the Zerat portal is a little more likely. Both could be part of his build in the endgame, though. That could be reasonable, but
and speaking of
he'll be a bit less healthy. Yeah, Cavelli's going to get his own, so both going to be matching each other in pressure. Once, of course, they're both completed, though. For right now, Boosted Bear is at a bit of a disadvantage.
Definitely is going to give Cavelli a nice, strong lead. He's going to be able to keep the pressure up, and he has teleport and his ultimate.
That's true. Yeah, he's got double the pressure right now because of the Zerat portal, and double the mobility as well because he's Shen on top of having teleport. So Cavelli has a firm grasp of this lane, I would say, despite the fact that there hasn't been a ton of action. Dwayne Wade turns back around onto Philly with the attempted snare, but Burai is being bullied backwards now, and Yennear and Philly have control of a lane that has a Caitlyn in it. Like, if Caitlyn cedes control of a lane, then Caitlyn doesn't really have all that much else going into the mid-game, which is
Philly's
where
in trouble,
she
though.
drops the hardest. Burai getting bursted. Philly as well in some trouble, but Yennear is full health, and that is a huge advantage for the duo lane of Supernova. Beautiful flash there from Philly to get himself to safety. And that's a kill for Burai.
First, I was a little concerned about Philly, but he popped the shield and the exhaust, and Yenny popped his heal. Enough to keep him alive.
Yeah, that was very cleanly played from Supernova's duo. And I think a lot of that was Philly taking all of that aggro so that Yeniar got free time landing lots and lots of damage. Really well.
Worth noting that Yenny has picked up Machine first item, so he's going for a Trinity Force build.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much standard on Kog'Maw nowadays. The very rare times when you actually see a Kog'Maw nowadays.
Yeah, I remember a time where it wasn't standard, but especially the recent changes to Trinity Force, make it a lot stronger.
Rek is playing so aggressively right now. Look at where he is in the minimap. Up top side, yeah, we're turning the camera up here. Veli is going to be chasing him away, though. You can land. There it is, the double taunt as they're turning. Here's Filthy as well. The ult's going to pull back Boosted Bear. Looks like Wreck that tunnel will be able to escape, but I don't know if we can say the same about this Malphite. The Unstoppable Force burned, and everything is taken away from them on the way out of that fight. Everything short of their lives.
Cavelli popping his flash, but he managed to get 2 flashes and an ultimate out of it.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth it. Particularly the Malphite ulti while he still has teleport up, because that lowers the effectiveness of his teleport ganks by a huge amount.
Everyone loves the surprise Malphite teleport when he has ultimate.
Yeah, it can be a nasty gift from the other side of the map, your bottom lane. And so to some degree, like Cavelli and Fanatilton, even Filthy showing up in that fight there, pulling that ulti and making it unavailable for the next few minutes means that the noose can be tightened even further around Burai and Dwayne Wade down here. As Philly and Yeniar continue to push forward, but Philly perhaps pushed forward a little bit too far. Burai gets himself the kill with that final headshot, and is going to keep going in the 1v1 here with Yeniar. He knows he's back up in the form of Wreck that tunnel, but here comes Cavelli and Fanatilt from the side. What looked like a rosy fight for the side of Ignitus turns around when Supernova bring in the reinforcements. It's a 1-for-1 trade.
And we're not expecting the horse to come out of nowhere and say hi. And very good use of Cavelli's ultimate. Oh, they're going for a dive.
Oh, and there's Fanatilt's ulti as Burai is stuck up against that wall by the Terrifier. If they can just land one more auto or a Q, there it is. Fanatilt it. And the stun landing on Cavelli will not last very long, as he's happy to tank the turret for his team to go and chase down this low health Jax, but he leap strikes away. He may yet make it. Yeniar's ult didn't have quite enough damage. So very close.
Valiant attempt to pick up Wreck that tunnel, but Wreck that tunnel able to escape.
Oh man, that's got to be depressing for Yeniar, because not only was he really so very close to landing the kill in the ulti, it just really feels like that ulti should have killed him, because they have recently changed Kog'Maw to where Living Artillery is an execute now. So that was more than just the old base damage of Living Artillery would have done. That was an execute effect on the Jax, and he still didn't quite go down despite being incredibly low.
Seeing Filthy getting a free hit onto Aethys there. And so far, Supernova's kind of walking away with this. The gold lead isn't huge, but 3k is... it's 2k actually, 2.5k.
One small victory for Ignitus during that is, even though it was a 1-for-1, and it really looked great for them at the start, but, a 2-for-1, and they had to back away and lost pretty much everything on the way out, including the turret. Boosted Bear, I suppose, got a bit of farm while Supernova was away. So, I say small victory, it is a very small victory. But you've got to take those small things when the
He's going to take what he can get, I imagine. He does have his ultimate up, and he still has teleport, so there is still potential for a teleport ult gank.
So many ZZ Rot minions streaming into this lane. Oh man, double tank top lane, both of them going for the ZZ Rot early. We are in for an exciting match, folks.
We're seeing Cavelli has purchased his... Now he's working on Subfire pieces, now that he's got the drop roll.
Yeah, you definitely need to build something high on health to compensate for the lack thereof in rushing ZZ Rot first. But it's kind of been normally the effect of rushing ZZ Rot first is you trade laning power for lane pressure in the form of the ZZ Rot minions and just macro play. Because often the other player will go for an item with a bit of health attached or something like that, and that will allow them to come out on top in the 1v1, but that's been neutralized in effect because both of these laners have gone for the ZZ Rot rush. So it's a very interesting situation you don't see too terribly often.
Seeing Boosted Bear is actually stabilized pretty decently here. Keeping him at the same level of health as Cavelli.
That tunnel's coming in, though. There's the flash away. Nice reflexes from Cavelli. Oh, they may still have him, though. Yeah, the stun into the turret. There's the flash in from Boosted Bear. Perhaps unnecessary to get the kill, but
not
he really wanted
damage
that.
at all.
Yeah, nor the range of that leap strike. Cavelli thought he was home free after flashing away from the unstoppable force, but they had still yet more to throw at him. No turret here for Burai, and Dwayne Wade means they have absolutely no control of this lane. They cannot come close at all.
We're seeing both mid laners actually, they're still pretty much even. No deaths, no kills, even CS.
Oh, Wreck that tunnel found Vanatilt in the jungle, or perhaps Vanatilt found him as Wreck that tunnel flashed. And Vanatilt follows. He looked like he didn't even realize he had a kill there. He just kept charging past and then turned around. Oh, there's a low health Jax in that bush.
He more or less dodged the counter-strike again. He was
Yeah.
very aware of it. Was able to outplay it again, basically.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's likely the reason why he kept walking further away and then came back, but it still looked fun, nonetheless. It looked funny, and that's what counts.
And we're seeing that Vanatilt is going off with that early Trinity Force.
Oh yeah, definitely. That completed is a big deal, actually. Trinity Force completed for Yeniar as well, so there's some really powerful mid-game spikes right now for Supernova. We're already sitting at a powerful point, and we're going to see that Trinity Force damage here onto Boosted Bear. And Vanatilt has a red buff as well to hold him down, so I don't really think there's any way out of this for the Malphite, and Boosted Bear will fall, albeit a little slower than perhaps we anticipated, but nonetheless he goes down.
He is a rock who does not go down easy.
Oh, Wreck that tunnel leaping beautifully outside of the Orianna ult. Shockwave avoided with precision, but he's still going to go down nonetheless as Philly shows up with Yeniar from the bottom lane. Good body block from Philly. Flash away as well. Some seriously strong mechanical play there from the Karma.
Wreck that tunnel, getting so close to picking up Filthy, but not quite able to.
And in a lane that's all about the ZZ Roats, Cog Valley will get a bit of revenge for earlier and pick up a ZZ Rod of his own. Or a ZZ Rod kill, I suppose, of his own. Continue to push forward, continue to get pressure in this lane. I wanted to say a lead, but he's actually down by 20 CS, and it's even in kills, but it just feels like Cavelli has had more control of the top lane throughout the whole match, and even if the numbers don't back that up, it may just be a level of confidence in his play that we're not seeing in Boosted Bears.
It's worth noting that Cavelli has had more roam time than Boosted Bear has.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Boosted Bear has been running longer, so that's why he has the CS lead. But there is the assist to take into account, where a lot of those assists are from helping Vanatilt basically either pick up, wreck that tunnel, or Boosted Bear.
On top of the assist to take into account, though, you can see that there's just like a difference in playstyles between the two players. Cavelli is always looking to pick a fight, even when he's down by a few hundred hit points. Like right now, he's just constantly going in, weaving in those extra auto attacks onto the Malphite, and never really taking no for an answer whenever a fight presents itself.
Always happy to share the love.
I think Boosted Bear could actually stand to take a page from that playbook, but here comes Wreck up to the top side. Nice shadow dash from Cavelli.
Wisely backing up, or
perhaps not, as Wreck is looking for the dive again. We'll see if it's a repeat of last time. There's the knock up onto Cavelli. He had the protective barrier for a little while, but not long enough. And Boosted Bear actually zooming out of there because of the passive on the ZZ Rock portal. Raptor Cloak, I should say. Giving him the extra movement speed around turrets. Philly goes down! Burai gets the headshot at the end.
Yeah, Cavelli once again not quite respecting Wreck and Boosted Bear.
Yeah, his propensity to never say no to a fight he's gotten the best of him once or twice this game. And there are some fights which one should say no to. Usually 2v1s with the Jax involved. Here comes Hecarim. It's a 3-man ulti, in fact, as Aethys is eliminated from the map. Here comes Dwayne Wade's death soon as well. Vanatilt is unstoppable with a Shen teleporting in on his back, and Burai has nowhere left to run. He's racing to his inhibitor turrets, and he's still being chased down. You never win a race against a Hecarim. But Boosted Bear is teleported into the fight as well. We'll see if he can get himself a double. There's one as the Hecarim falls. A red buff now, enhancing his auto attacks to slow Cavelli down. He dashes over the wall, but there's a flash to follow and the Q to follow up as well. But Cavelli has a shield. He may get... No, he's not going to escape. This is just going to be a long, slow chase, but eventual death for the Shen as Filthy is being chased back by Rek. And Cavelli got away. What? How did Cavelli get away?
I have no idea. The directed camera decided not to...
Malphite... All he had to do was walk at him until Q was up and then press it again.
I'm assuming...
I guess Oriana... No, Filthy wasn't there. Filthy's dead.
It must have been Philly. Philly must have helped him.
Philly, yeah, that's who it was. Their names just sound like...
Philly and Filthy. Filthy Philly.
Well, Cavelli got out alive. Surprisingly enough, one way or another he did.
I'm sure he's happy about that.
I'm sure. In the end, I'd say that was really good for Supernova. An overextension at the end, diving under an inhibitor turret when you still haven't taken the outer. Yeah, it's an overextension in any circumstance, but even without that, they were doing quite well, and that really only gave up one extra kill. Miraculous.
To be fair, they did give away the bonus for Fanatilt. The bonus gold. But we're just seeing how incredibly scary he is. He's super tanky, and he does a lot of damage.
Given time, I think Rek would scale up into being an equal, if not surpassing threat to Fanatilt, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing that time pass, as Supernova have an increasing hold on this map here. I mean, just watching the gold grow, not only has the amount of gold, of course, grown for each team, but the gold lead has grown for Supernova, and the differential there is what's important. They've not been stagnating, and that's the mark of a team that knows how to close out a match.
I'm seeing Cavelli doing Shen things and pushing that bottom side.
And he's still got a 0 on top, actually, so applying pressure all across the board. Has teleport available, has Stand United available. This Shen is just an incredibly mobile piece on this chessboard that is Summoner's Rift.
This directed camera really likes these tank fights.
It really, really does. Oh, man. It's been a low-action game across the rest of the map, I suppose, when directed camera has nowhere else to look but Shen v Malphite. It's a 4v4 potentially in the mid lane, though, with Fanatilt waiting in the wings, ready to charge in at a moment's notice. We'll see whether or not he gets that notice.
Cavelli does have his ultimate up. And Boosted Bear has no way to interrupt it other than using Unstoppable Force. And oh my.
Oh, look at that damage. Fanatilt backing away from the counter-strike. Doesn't quite avoid the stun, though, and he gets charmed backwards. Wreck that tunnel, flashes away, but Fanatilt still gets the kill. The shields aplenty are coming in now from Philly and Shen. Dwayne Wade is going to be absolutely murdered with Filthy claiming that kill. Cavelli got interrupted on his way into the fight, but the shield was there nonetheless to save Fanatilt's life, so he's perfectly fine with that. And Supernova get themselves another victory.
I thought Fanatilt was dead for sure, but the shields did come down to save the day.
Yeah, his health bar just turned gray. It didn't go away. It's fine.
And we're just seeing how incredibly scary he is.
Ooh, really nice charm on Philly, and that is the catch. Aethys finding himself a kill. Nicely done. Wove that charm past a minion wave and a few members of the enemy team as well.
Exactly what they need. They need all the help they can get, and they need to find a way to deal with Fanatilt. If he can do 80% of a Jax's health in one shot, that's kind of scary.
Yeah. To be fair, Jax has not built very much tankiness yet, with only a Ruby Crystal to his name in that regard. But
he does have the Gunblade and Devourer now, so he is going to be pretty scary himself if you let him hit you long enough.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest issue. They've got so much CC and sort of wombo on the side of Supernova. I don't really think that Rek is ever going to get the time to smack people about with that lamppost. So, regardless of the fact that he's hit some pretty powerful spikes, as you mentioned, I don't know if he's going to be given the room to breathe and actually use them. I think what's a little more important in terms of item spikes right now is the fact that Aethys has actually hit 2 items, and his rod is completed, stacking. Which is an interesting choice on our You Don't Often See Rod of Ages.
Yeah, it's actually you're seeing 2 Rod of Ages from both mid laners here. That's what their first items were. So both not interested in getting bursted down.
But yeah, if Aethys can land a really good pick onto Yenniar or Filthy, then I think that's going to turn the tides of a fight more than more than the Jax will at this point. As we scale later into the game, the Jax will become more and more relevant for sure. But I think a lot of the onus is on this Ahri, and oh man, Fanatilt already has a GA. But I mean, if they can focus him down, that may not matter. Good ulti to get out of there in time, though. But forcing the Hecarim ult defensively is a huge boon for Ignitus.
It's definitely kind of what they need. They need all the help they can get here, and without Fanatilt ultimate, he's going to have a much harder time engaging without just rampaging in.
Mm-hmm. In addition to that, they got a Shockwave as well. So 2 really impactful ults taken from Ignitus. A Charm from Aethys finds some great damage onto Philly. Yeah, I've definitely got my eyes on Aethys over the next few team fights here. This Ahri is coming online right now. Dashing inwards, there we go, see if we can get some good damage. Meanwhile, though, wreck that down, and the Morgana has already fallen. Aethys can only do so much work as the exhaust comes down, and he's not able to actually get a pick on anyone here. The team falls around him, and Boosted Bear, having run into the fight from the side, is only going to find a team fallen to pieces without a single kill gained. Ignitus drastically have the tides turned against them.
And we're seeing Cavelli using his teleport to get that top lane turret. He has the drop roll down to push, while the rest of his team goes for Baron. We saw Tunnel and Dwayne engaged really hard there, but they were exploded so fast.
Yeah, and it was a really good catch from, well, that Wombo that I was talking about earlier, the Orianna, the Hecarim. Towards the front of that fight, I believe it was Dwayne Wade and Rek who were caught out and basically instantly eliminated at the start of the fight. So even though Aethys was able to get some good catches and land a lot of damage, there just wasn't enough follow-up because his team at that point had already fallen around him.
No damage in the world will matter if you can't get your opponent to 0.
That's true. You know what they say about close.
Yes.
not even going to go over it.
Something about nukes.
I think we're getting to that every class. Yeah. Nukes. Something about nukes.
Fanatilt is just so scary. I'm finally getting his name right. He's 5 items at 27 minutes.
Yeah, that's a man whose name you want to get right. He's a very scary gentleman. He might do something nasty to you if you say his name wrong. But, oh, interesting use of the Scryer's Bloom there. Rex saw that ward get placed, so dropped the Scryer's Bloom. Yeah, bloom, just to be able to clear it. Just clever.
And with the Baron, Supernova is going to be able to very easily push in on this turret.
And I think the question we have to ask here is how Ignitus can come back into, because it is very much Supernova's game to lose now. As I mean, they've got wrecked that tunnel to scale to the late game, but the scaling exists for Supernova as well with their oddity of a Kog'Maw pick. They are not going to be lacking for damage late game.
But he has Trinity Force, he has Blade the Ring King working on Runins. And they're going to be able to protect him extremely easily.
I think what I like better about Supernova's composition here is the fact that while they have picked at least one odd pick in the Kog'Maw, they sort of built a composition around it that works in the current day, you know? Ignitus's composition is too many oddballs thrown together all at once, and contrary to what Hollywood movies might have you think, you don't want just a team of all the rejects. Oh, you're right, getting tossed backwards. Fanatilt is just an impenetrable, unstoppable force. Shields upon shields upon shields. Shen's as well now showing up to help him out. Wreck that tunnel is going to be tossed backward to an early grave. Cavelli is doing work here. Tanking turrets. For years, he does not care. Oh, no.
He's going to happily trade turret aggro with Fanatilt.
And this is the death now.
Also going to be able to tank. And with that Baron buff, they're easily going to be able to take these turrets in, probably in the game.
And Ignitus is knocked out of the tournament. It is a best of one here in the semifinals. So Supernova are going to be going on to our finals tonight. And hopefully we can get into the next semifinal match for you guys. Hopefully it hasn't already begun without us, but we'll be getting to the next match that we can find as soon as we possibly can.
Just give me a moment. Looks like it's possibly already started. If it's the same roster as yesterday, maybe I have somebody on my friends list.
All right. Well, give us a little bit, folks, to sort this out, and we'll be back.
And we're back! We're going to be casting NCSU Prime versus Ganked by Gophers, and for some reason my thing is messing up. Let me... Okay.
And for those of you who may be unaware of the work here at Reverie, just to make sure, since we do the tournaments on a weekly basis and the whole tournament has to take place on one day, in fact in one evening, I mentioned back to that point in a second. We have Pluck and Penguin rushing in from the bush. Neverville, yes, is tossed backwards by the ulti, and here comes the bullets from the curtain call. One finds its mark into Varikse, and that is enough. Spliffy will be hit by the fourth and just about survive as Shadow Visions comes in to clean him up with the empowered Q, and literally a potato will be literally mashed as Pluck and Penguin dives into the turret for that final kill. And the point I was getting back to, no, perhaps not. We are diving right into the action here. Hopefully you're on the same timestamp as me here, Effect. As Twitty Partner
for some reason OBS is being uncooperative and decides it doesn't want to look at League of Legends anymore.
Oh man, I hope my play-by-play has been informative enough, because we do in fact have a game already underway here between NCSU Prime and Ganked by Gophers, and it looks like NCSU Prime is having a bit of a field day with a 14-2 scoreline 16 minutes in. Because we do our tournaments in entirely one evening, because the way that we organize them, it is almost impossible for us to cast every game at the times when they begin sometimes, because we have to run the semifinals at the same time as one another, and so occasionally we'll be tuning into a semifinal partway through, and we apologize for that. But we are 16 minutes into this match, and hopefully Effect has the visuals up. But if not, I'm sure he's working that out right now. We good, Effect? You know,
I had to switch to windowed instead of game capture. I don't know why the game capture decides it doesn't want to work anymore.
All right, that's frustrating, but as long as we found a workaround, that's what matters in the end. So yes, we have got NCSU here facing off against the Ganked by Gophers squad. And let's settle into the match, shall we? Which it seems like Ganked by Gophers have not done all too well.
Definitely currently behind, it seems. They were able to beat out Supernova Gemini in the quarterfinal. So, let's see what they can do here. It's worth noting that NCSU Prime is...
Oh, man. Ooh. Pluck and Penguin's diving back. We've already seen one rampaging Hecarim tonight. It looks like we're going to be seeing another. It's a double kill, a triple kill for the Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Once again, Pluck and Penguin going off. Ooh, good dodge by Parker
there.
But
Twitty Parker's still stunned, and Hani will claim the kill.
Hani
that is a
convinced
tail
he's
that
not going to let him go.
Yeah, that was some pretty solid Bard play, and it's a tale that Bard will be telling through to the ages. Had to get the bad joke out. Had to.
Bard tells all tales through music.
And this tale seems to be ending rather shortly, possibly, with NCSU, before we're even at the 20-minute mark on the clock, shoving in onto inhibitor turrets. Turrets plural, in fact.
They're running a mid-lane Karma this time, rather than the support Karma like they usually do. Makes decent amount of sense, because a strong Pluck and Penguin is on that Hecarim, and the synergy that those two characters have.
Yeah, and it may have been a first pick Karma that was flexed to the mid lane when Hani wanted to play Bard. Pardon me.
It's definitely very possible.
It seems so far, though, in the tournament tonight, Hecarim Karma is a winning composition, so to all those of you out there who are interested, perhaps, in moving forward tonight, Hecarim Karma, do that. Looks pretty good, I'd say.
Looks very good.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be giving advice. I'm unbiased. I am an unbiased observer. You know, occasionally as a caster, I feel like one of those, nature documentarians. And when I come across a game that is 18-2 at 20 minutes, I feel like some of those nature documentarians must feel when they see like a lion slaughtering an antelope in the jungle and they can't do anything about it.
The League of Legends player in his natural environment.
Yeah, and they have to say in a very serious tone. And this is the semi-professional team in its natural environment, crushing amateur tournaments. I don't even know who I'm making an impression of there, but, Trundle makes an impression into the dirt, as Pluck and Penguin shoves him down into it. Varix is going to be held up there. And snared as well from the side and utterly eliminated. This game seems all but over.
And it's going to be them securing the inhibitor at exactly right around the 20-minute mark.
Flash forward from Honey, but the stun doesn't land. However, Giscard is flashing in as well, and Twitty Parker is not going to be allowed a moment's respite as they dive even onto the Nexus Fountain itself. No place is safe here for the potato. And never vote yes.
Oh, Barcode does manage to pick up Never Vote Yes. Or what are you voting yes to? Or no to?
Presumably, I'm thinking that's like a reference to surrendering.
Ah.
Like never
That
surrender.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, I would know that if I played more.
Oh,
Giscard,
Giscard turns back around and
very
gets the shield
durable.
from the Curse of the Colossus. He may be able to get out of here. There's a heal from Bard. Flash forward from Spliffy, but Spliffy is alone now as his team gets stunned behind him, and he's going to be melted if he continues with his chase. There's the right of the Arcane. One shot lands. Giscard dodges the other, and in the back of the fight, we see Giscard dodge the third away. Unfortunate for Twitty Parker, as that kill would have been invaluable in rectifying some of the horrible, horrible losses that Gophers have sustained this game.
Looks like there's 2 inhibitors down at 21 minutes. This is going to be a very difficult game to make a comeback at this timetable.
I think at this point we can say that the finals are going to involve NCSU.
That would be a reasonable
Unless
assumption.
there's some kind of miraculous recovery.
The Meteors.
Always with the meteors. You always got to bring it back to that effect.
It is 2016.
From the first time we casted here at Reverie, I believe you've said meteors at least once every 3 or 4 weeks. Once a month. Is that about how often meteors land near you?
Yes.
Are you on some sort of timetable?
That's how I,
Oh,
that's how I
no.
measure time.
Interesting
Someday,
interaction there.
someday a player's house will get hit by a meteor. Someday.
I don't actually know if that's correct, but we'll keep you updated for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and
I
there,
don't know what the ruling would be on that in the tournament. Whether that would be a draw or if they'd have to replay the match. It very well could be Baron here for NCSU though. They've kind of got their pick of the litter as far as rejections are concerned.
there's not a whole lot that Ganked by Gophers can do to stop this.
They've got their hands full, dealing with some super minions shoving in on 2 lanes at just 20 minutes. That's going to be real rough. Because super minions are just as tanky at 20 minutes as they are the first time around at like 30 or 40 minutes, if I recall correctly. So, and you are definitely not scaled up hard enough to deal with that by the time 20 minutes rolls around. All right, here's the Baron attempt.
Ganked by Gophers is doing their best to try and stop this Baron from happening.
Plucking Penguin's coming over the wall, though, and leaving the Baron with a few. No possibility of a steal while he's away from the pit. Curtain call comes down. Reeks is being chased away. Plucking Penguin is legendary, and deservedly so, sitting at 12-0 and 9. Here comes Hani over the wall to stun up Twitty Parker as he's trying desperately to snipe people with right of the Arcane, but he is deleted. And Shadow Visions will bring down literally a potato for a almost ace. I'm sure had Spliffy been involved in the fight, he likely would have fallen as well.
Most likely, but he had opted to cancel his teleport and head back to base to try and stop these minions. But here comes the rest of NCSU Prime to go ahead and finish the job.
Yeah, and this could be GG right here. As NCSU look to take one Nexus turret, they're barging in onto the other one, and invited or not, they are joining in on this party here. And it looks like they're about ready to crash it.
And that is going to be game at 24 minutes. Going to NCSU Prime. We have our finals.
All right, so that's going to be NCSU Prime versus... check and make sure that I've got my information correct. Well, NCSU Prime versus... that was Ignitus. No, not Ignitus. Sorry, Supernova. In the finals here, so a worthy final indeed. But, Effect, I think I will have to dodge out and leave you to face these perils either alone or with a casters. It seems like we may have one coming in. But I do have some small things to attend to tonight. I know, I'm sorry, folks. You all wanted to hear me for the whole night. But if you really want to hear me talk for hours on end, you can always just go and check last night's games because those went until 2 in the morning.
It was definitely a long
For anybody
set
who
of
wasn't
games.
around. But Effect will take good care of you, I'm sure. And we may have a guest caster on the mic, it seems. There's talk of that in the admin room on the Discord. So I'm going to duck out for now. I'm sure you can handle this very well, Effect. Have a good night,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Good night. See you later. So on that note, guys, we are going to be taking a tiny break while everybody gets set up in the next lobby for the finals, and we'll be on some music. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we have returned to the Reverie Esports buy-in tournament for November 2016. Because Octavian is having to take off, we're being joined by another caster, the one and only Combs from Supernova.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So, for those of you just joining us, this is a best of 3 between, I believe it is Supernova Main and NCSU Prime, both on the blue and red side, respectively.
Yeah, so we're gonna be seeing two teams, both pretty, uh, not new to the scene, that have been the scene pretty much a pretty long time here. Both coming out of really large online tournaments, both having played in the initial championship series. So this should be a pretty exciting final to watch. Nothing too slow and nothing too, one-sided. We should see quite the games tonight.
I'm definitely looking forward to see it because NCSU and Supernova have been to Reverie tournaments basically ever since I started casting here, and it's been several months now of me casting here. So always happy to see them make a return, and we're seeing some bands coming out of the gate, mostly targeted bands.
Yeah, so right now we know there's some pretty strong picks out in the middle right now. We know things specifically like Syndra, LeBlanc. There you go. There's a LeBlanc band. So we know those things are OP, but a lot of the times when we see finals like these, we see a lot of targeted bans at specific people. So for instance, we see the Shen going out, aimed towards Kukvel, specifically because, it's not only a strong pick, but something he's mastered at this point. But vice versa, we see the Bard Rek'Sai going out. Those two picks super strong for players like Pluckin and for their support, Haney. So, I'm kind of excited to see what that leaves up, what that'll, force people to pick. Right there, we see an Ivern ban, something that, you don't see banned all that often in highly competitive play. So this should be an exciting finals nonetheless.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to see if this last ban is going to be a Hecarim ban possibly, because both Fanatilt and Penguin both play Hecarim quite a bit. Though Hecarim seems to be not maybe a primary pick for Penguin since he's been playing a lot of Zac lately.
Yeah, and Zac right now with Courage of the Colossus is still a super strong pick. You hit a nice, ultimate or even a knockup on multiple champions. You're looking at a shield that's almost unbearable for a team to take down during a team fight. So this time around, we see that the Hecarim was left up. Will Supernova take it? First pick, it being so strong, we'll find out. But again, like we
There it
talked about,
is.
there's a Hecarim. Yeah, so Hecarim's gonna go over to Fantail. Both junglers played it, in this tournament. Both, really controlling the game. So hopefully this won't spell GG for NCSU now that it's gone. But, I have a feeling that they're going to pick up the next strongest pick, which would be Zac in this instance.
And definitely, they're hovering on Caitlyn currently. Barcode, last night he showed that he could basically play any number of marksman carry type characters, and he is going to go and lock it in with the Karma. Karma, of course, being one of the better supports that we just constantly see, pretty much. Just a
Yeah, so
pick.
the Karma Caitlyn lane is specifically built as a poke style lane that allows the AD carry to kind of farm around whatever support gets picked up next. To counterbalance that, though, you're going to look for something a little bit more aggressive. You'll see things with, hook possibilities, or even something to kind of match that, something, support-wise for Supernova that'll kind of match the farm lane. So we'll either see something like the Janna pick, we'll see something like a Nami pick, something that helps sustain, but also help in the 2v2 trade if needed. So we'll see the Ezreal picked up. It's a safe pick, range-wise versus Caitlyn, and right there, like I said, we'll see the Nami. So we're looking at a lane that's a little bit more aggressive for the side of NCSU, but on the same time, timeline here, we have lanes that are kind of stalemated. So as long as both play it right, we're just looking at a farm bottom lane.
Oh, and they're hovering on Zac. Most likely going to lock the Zac in. That's not a surprise at all. We talked about it earlier. And for a top lane, they're going to lock in the Poppy.
And Poppy follows that same kind of agenda of the Courage of the Colossus agenda. Her hitting multiple knockups or even the wall CC is huge. It provides that shield and, again, makes her a tank. So right now, NCSU has a really great, kind of peel team for Caitlyn. They have the Zac, they have the Poppy. They have two major champions that can create their own massive shields for themselves. And alongside that, they have Karma that can put a shield on herself, if not the whole team. So, if Supernova's not careful, they could get kited out, and this Caitlyn could be a lot larger than they can deal with.
And it does leave the last pick open for mid, giving Shadow Visions the ability to basically pick whatever he wants safely without being worried. Any kind of counter picking going on there. And I'm wondering what Filthy is going to lock in. It looks like it might be Ahri. It is indeed going to be Ahri, so that is something that Henny is the one who picks it, but Shadow Vision is the one who plays it. We'll be picking something that'll deal with that, hopefully, very well. And it's going to be a Trundle to counter out the Poppy, or at least not get pushed out of lane.
Yeah, so in this instance, not only is picking up Ari a good pick for Supernova to take away from Shadow Visions, who, has quite the mastery on Ari at this point, and it kind of opens up some avenues because, they did this specifically because NCSU, they banned LeBlanc, which is another great mid laner for Shadow Vision. So they take the second strongest, which is Ari, and it kind of forces Shadow out of his comfort zone a little bit. So he's going to be looking for something that he may not be as strong on, but maybe something a little bit more team oriented. So we may see something that's a little bit more of a support mid. If not, the Syndra is still up. So it wouldn't be surprising if Syndra got picked here. And again, the Trundle pick specifically for the Poppy, obviously the Trundle ult negates a lot of the, if not all the armor that she's going to build. It makes that lane, kind of useless for her. So as long as Trundle plays it correctly, doesn't get too far behind early, it could spell problematic for the Poppy.
And you talked about it. There it is. There's the Cinder pick for Shadow Visions. He's played it quite a bit before. Usually it's been banned against him in previous tournaments, though, so it's going to be interesting to see him pick that back up when we haven't seen him play it in so long.
Yeah, and looking at both the matchups like we talked about, there is some OP picks that we get to see go through. We get to see the Heck Room. We get to see that Nami Ezreal bottom lane, but at the same time on the side of NCSU, we get to see the Zac, we get to see the Syndra, and we get to see the Caitlyn Karma. So, both teams have comps that counter each other, but at the same time, it's going to be who pulls the trigger first and who plays these teams fight out correctly. After seeing this tournament, we know that both teams are really great at team fighting, but, who's going to come out on top in this finals here?
It's definitely going to be interesting to see who does what, how they do it, and what kind of action we look forward to seeing here. And there's not a whole lot we can talk about here, otherwise.
Well, if you had to pick effect, and while we've got the timer to go through, right now, just looking at the team comps, not the players, but specifically the team comps, what team do you think looks stronger on paper?
I'd probably have to go with NCSU's team, and they're a little more bursty, though. Man, it's hard because Supernova also has a really good pick comp, and Heckram's no slouch when it comes to engaging.
Well, I guess if you're going to pick up NCSU, I'll play devil's advocate and look a little biased here, and I'm going to go with Supernova. The only reason I say that is because of the counter picks that we see here. We have the Ari, so if it taunts Syndra before she can burst, that may spell death for her. But at the same time, like you said, they have the Zac, so if Ari's not paying attention, that could be problematic for them. But, just to play devil's advocate, I'll take SN this time. You take NCSU, and we'll see how it pans out.
Absolutely. And on that note, we have entered our 3-minute delay. So we're going to take a small, tiny commercial break, and once we're in-game, we'll be back. So don't go anywhere, guys. There we go. I had to adjust my UI a little bit, but we are back. We are in the finals, the first round with Supernova on the blue side and NCSU Prime on the red side. And fix the scoreboard, and I think we're good.
And it looks like we're going to see the pretty standard start, the 5-man lineup, just to make sure that nobody's invading or anything cheaty. So we shouldn't see our fun little 5-mans on one buff here. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of a trade up top, though.
Cavelli and Giskard having some fun up there. Probably the most action we'll see all game up there.
Yeah, right there, you know, Cookville's just looking to start the momentum for top, let him know that I'm not scared of a poppy pick, and then he's going to back at his full health and come back to lane and get ready for the fun, you know, noodle fight that they're going to have up on that top island.
It's a curious choice that Cavelli's taken Ghost rather than Flash. I don't really see that on Jungle too often, or never really, not in tournaments at least.
So what you see when somebody takes Ghost top lane is, well, to be honest with you, it's an immense amount of confidence. Flash, realistically, is a safer pick because, again, if you get ganked by Zach, you can flash away from the knockup. Here, Cookville is really relying on kind of having wards up and knowing where the Zach's going to be prior. If not, like you said, the Ghost could spell detrimental for him. So, you know, we're going to hopefully see quite the plays up top with the Ghost. It will allow him to be a little bit more aggressive. There won't be anywhere that Poppy can go once her flash is down. So I'm kind of excited to see how the Ghost kind of works out. It's really unconventional.
It definitely gives him some chase potential, and it's more distance than Flash in the longer term, but it's obviously Flash's utility of just being instantly able to move is what makes it safer. So we'll see what
Absolutely.
he does. We will see what he does with it. And he is taking the Doran's Blade rather than a Corrupting Potion, and it gives him a bit more AD.
And right here in the bottom lane, we see quite the trade going on between these two bottom lanes. Like we said, they have quite the sustain. One side having shields, the other side having heals. So, but as we look, it looks like Supernova has the upper hand on the trade, just putting a little bit more poke down than the side of NCSU. So hopefully Barcode and Haney are careful about that and don't take too many Qs to the face.
Definitely look like Yenny is holding his own at the moment against the Caitlyn. They are getting pushed in a little bit, but so far he's having no problem last hitting, and they're actually doing a bit of zoning here.
Absolutely, and we see that Hecarim making early presence mid as he's looking to get the first blood on Shadow Vision here. Shadow Vision is going to pop Ghost and Flash there and going to make it out with his life.
We did see that Filthy also flash over the wall to try and land the charm, but Shadow Vision was able to avoid it. Yenny taking some return damage from that Karma buffed up Q. Philly has no fear, constantly walking up and using the ebb and flow to doing some nice poke damage there.
Absolutely, and right here in the mid lane, you know, now both mid laners are vulnerable to ganks from both the junglers. Not having Flash on either side is quite large for them, and if they're not careful, they could spell first blood for either team. But in the instance right here, the reason Filthy is playing so forward is because he has Ignite. You know, one good combo, and that could be first blood for him as well solo. So hopefully we'll see that the jungler's coming mid here soon. We see Zach starting to hover that way. We see Fan's bottom side of the map right now, so this could be first blood if Ari's not careful.
Oh, there it is. Here comes the last shot. He lands it.
Oh, will he make it out, though? She missed her W there, but there's going to be a flash from Zach to get that first blood for NCSU Prime.
We're seeing Penguin making a nice little gank there to show that he exists. Henny taking a bit of damage, but Yenny also taking a little bit of damage in return.
Yeah, and like we said there, for the mid laners, once neither of them had their escape summoners, they should have been a little bit more aware that the junglers were going to make their presence there, even this early on. Zach was willing to use his flash if it meant getting a kill, and for NCSU Prime, that spells first blood. So right now, we see NCSU starting it off strong with that first blood in the mid lane, going over to their jungler. But like we said, it's far from over. Supernova roughly down 800 gold right now, so a lot of game to go.
Henny getting that snare onto Philly, but not much in the way of follow-up because Barcode is hitting minions currently, which is actually pretty important. Who would have known? And top lane is boring. And we're seeing Fanatilt kind of hovering around that topside jungle as he's farming. Working towards a phage, it looks like.
Right now, actually, what Fan is looking for is a Triforce on Hecarim. It's quite the strong item, you know, and like you said, he's looking for that Phage first item to really be able to kind of stay with the champions here as he goes to gank a lane, you know, providing that movement speed on each auto. But right now, it looks like he's power farming to try to get to 6 so he can make an early presence soon.
Cavelli making his presence known to Giskard. Doing quite a bit of damage to him there. Oh,
Yeah, and right there we see Fan coming in. There it is, a kill to go over to SN as Fan makes a wonderful gank in the top lane onto Poppy. So Poppy now not having flashes. She did try to flash out, only spelt death for her. So right now the score's even up at 1-1. NCSU Prime having a bit of a gold advantage at 400 just based off CS. But again, it's not too much to spell GG for either team. So excited to see what happens. But it looks like Pluckin is now mid lane.
Oh, there's the slingshot, but oh, he does land. That was comboed really well, but it looks like
And a counter gank by Fan here. He's gonna get the split. He's got Shadow Vision feared, but again, there's nobody to follow up. Ari's super low here. Fan's just looking to get the kill on Zac and back out, but he's not gonna be able to get it. So right there, we got some burn summoners. We got some, you know, presence made, but unfortunately, nobody comes out on top with a kill.
I'm actually surprised Filthy didn't die, but Shadow Vision does not have the ignite, and then there was not enough burn from a, like I said, a red buff or something to finish him off. And Fanatilt using his ultimate to pop Zac's passive, which actually might be worth it, because Zac's passive is on a fairly long cooldown.
And right there, we see an exchange of ultimates from the top laners. Pop playing pretty confident as she was playing forward to get some CS, but right there, Kugvel tried to make his presence known by just popping his ultimate and kind of forcing her to use hers, if not, trade and die. Knowing she doesn't have flash, Kugvel still has TP and still has his ghost, so trades will go more over in his favor if they decide to, you know, draw them out.
If Poppy tries to run, there's no way she can outrun a Trundle with Ghost. Ooh, Barcode getting bubbled up.
Oh, right here, if Barcode's not careful and takes a Q, we could see another kill bottom lane, but we won't. They're going to play it safe on the side of Supernova. Haney doing a very good job standing in front of his AD carry, making sure that no more Qs are, you know, headed towards his face.
Actually, kind of curious to see if Cavelli goes for the Titanic or Ravenous Hydra, because both are good items on Trundle.
Another gank mid lane as we see the vulnerable Ari taking the ultimate to the face, and this is why Cinder right now is considered a majorly OP for the mid lane. That ultimate, whether behind or not, will spell death for any mid laner.
Certainly we can see that it is a very significant amount of damage, and the stun followed up by a Zac Elastic Slingshot knockup is enough to lock someone down for more than enough time to land it.
And right here, the reason, again, like we said, Zac is kind of a OP pick as well for the jungle, is, you know, he doesn't really have to gank bottom right now. He understands that it is a sustain lane for both sides, so there's no reason to make too much of a present. And as I say that, he's bottom lane looking for a kill.
He does
Trundle with the TP.
We see he's kind of melting a little bit though.
And Fan's going to follow up with an amazing 3-man ult, and that's going to be 3 kills going over to the side of Supernova with the TP and the jungler follow-up from the side of Fan and Kugvel. So they're now going to look to trade for a turret and get some map coverage for them, add some pressure to the map by taking this bottom lane turret. Poppy right now doesn't have the damage to take top turret, so they have nothing to trade. So this was a great rotation on the side of Supernova, and NCSU just didn't see it coming.
Very, very well played by the side of Supernova. Kukveli saving his teleport while Gisker doesn't have his up, so he's able to make that teleport play. And then, of course, the brilliant engagement by Fanatilt to basically make sure that they could get all 3 kills, and now they're going for that dragon.
So right there, they're not only going to pick up 3 kills and a turret, they're also going to pick up an Infernal Trick, one of the more powerful drakes that teams want to look to get, especially a team with some team fight, but it looks like Fan's caught out by Syndra.
He does get it, but
And Kukvel, we see using the plant to come over the wall and try to provide some assistance to a support that almost died to Syndra. Syndra looking to pick up another kill, but they're not going to find it. So right there, Fan managed to smite, get some of his health back, and pick up a dragon. Unfortunately, he's going to lose his life to the Syndra that's now 2-0, and going to create quite the problem for this team if they're not careful.
well, still his life for the Drake, making sure that he didn't die before it died, was not a waste of his time, I would say.
Absolutely, and that was an amazing rotation on the side of NCSU Prime. Shadow Visions was aware that, hey, if they're going to go for Tower, they're probably going to go for Dragon as well. Let me see if I can find a pick, and right there, he finds the pick that he needs and almost picks up a double kill.
So very close, and if he had been a little bit quicker on killing Vanatilt, those darn cooldowns, he might have been able to actually just steal the Drake too, but unfortunately that was not the case for him. Vanatilt was able to secure it.
So right now, we'll probably see a lane swap go on due to the fact that the bottom turret is now down.
And you mentioned it, and there it is. We do both see the Yenny and the Philly are on the top side to say how to Giskard.
Right now we see Cuck and Fan about to create a problem here for this Caitlyn. His Fan's going to go in on her, and they're going to find the kill, maybe? Yes, they will. So they'll pick up a kill on Caitlyn, and they're now looking for Haney as he uses the ultimate to try to pick up a kill on the Karma. They're going to go in. Zach's going to try to follow up and provide some assistance as Poppy's TPing bottom lane. Poppy now in this bottom lane. She's going to look for a kill on Kikvel, but unfortunately, he has the ultimate on her. He's just taking away that armor and healing himself up. The sustain from these two is a little bit unbearable, but will they find the kill? They will. Poppy will end up picking up a kill anyways, as Kikvel was knocked away, leaving his jungler hanging. But it looks like they're going to retaliate.
And the ghosting Trundle with a pillar, not too many ways to escape that, not when your flash is down.
So right there, it looked like it was going to go all for Supernova in the trade. Luckily, NCSU Prime managed to pick up a kill onto the Poppy, by knocking away the Trundle and giving the Poppy some room to kind of, do her magic and pick up a kill. But unfortunately, it allowed Kukvel to pop Ghost and just come in and clean up where he needed to. Luckily, only picking up 1 and not 2 in that instance. So, what could have been 3 kills for nothing ended up being a 2 for 1. So, worked out a little bit.
NCSU Prime needed to take whatever they can get here. They're currently behind, not by, I can say not by much, but 2.5 gold at 2.5k gold at 12 minutes is not insignificant. Keep getting all my numbers mixed up.
Yeah, and right now the problem that Supernova needs to be well aware of is the Syndra is still powerful. Right now she's 20 CS above Ahri, and by just pressing R can almost, if not definitely, insta-kill the Ahri. So she can still pose a problem and, create quite the team fights as we see her now, hiding in the bush looking for a kill either on the support or Fan. But they're going to, oh, nope. Like I said, there it is. So, again, Syndra's still a problem. She still one-shots people regardless of how far behind her team may or may not be. So, Supernova just needs to be aware of that and keep eyes on her at all times.
Philly might have not died, but there was Pluck and Penguin to make sure that enough damage was dealt. He did use the exhaust to try and make sure he didn't blow up. Now we're seeing Penguins actually maneuvering to possibly dive this turret. There it is.
Yeah, and Penguin's going to go with the ult. Like you said, he's got quite the shield, but Fan's going to retaliate back, focusing down the Syndra with his ultimate, trying to make sure that she can no longer kill anybody here. And now they're stuck under the turret. If NCSU Prime isn't careful, they're going to be giving up more kills. But here comes Kukvel with the Trundle, a great pillar to really lock 3 into a corner. She's going to knock away Kukvel here, and there's a lot going on. But Fan's going to look to re-engage with his E. Unfortunately, not finding anybody there. They're going to look to kind of continue this. With the Ezreal looking to pick up hopefully 2 more kills here on the Caitlyn and the Zac. Zac does have split, so he might be able to buy some time for himself. He's going to split, but unfortunately it doesn't look like anybody can be there to protect him.
Not a whole lot he can do in that situation. Actually seeing that Phyllis still hasn't finished that Hydra into either one of the Hydras, I should say, and is working on a Sheen item, so that could be Trinity Torch, it could be Iceborne. Oh. Speaking of, he's just going to go ahead and dive.
And there we go, Fan stealing the kill away from his top laner as his top laner, was looking for a kill on the Karma. Nonetheless, the score now 13-5 in favor of Supernova. The team fights are just going their way because of the lead that they've got after picking up 3 kills in a turret bottom lane. So NCSU Prime, they need to find a way to slow the pace down. They have Poppy, they have Zac, and they have Syndra. They scale very well into the late game, along with their Caitlyn. So if they can slow the pace of the game down and bring Supernova into a 30-minute matchup, we could see team fights that are quite extended and go in the favor of NCSU Prime. But right now, Supernova, with the lead they have, they're going to continue running at NCSU, looking for kill after kill.
We're seeing some pings go down. Zac going to go and secure that red buff for himself. Now the next objective on the map is going to be Drake, and Rift Turtle's still active, or I should say is now spawning. Actually, it's been up for When does it spawn now? I can't remember. I actually don't remember the patch.
20 minutes is when it despawns and Baron spawns. So it actually spawns up around the 6-minute mark. So we have a Rift Herald on the map.
So it's going to be there for another 5 minutes. And, of course, Dragon is going to end 14 seconds. And we see NC2 Prime kind of posturing near it with a couple of people. Shadow looking for a possible pick on the Philly again. And we see Cavelli and Giskard having fun in the top side.
Yeah, Cinder right there was looking for a kill, unfortunately. Got bubbled before she could press R on Philly. Philly was stunned, but managed to get the bubble out just in time to save his own life.
See, both top laners do have their teleports, so they are very capable of hitting that bottom side with a teleport.
The
Not quite
stun,
catching Filthy there.
missing by a hair, would have spelled death most likely for Filthy, but they may have found Philly on the side. Filthy's going to go in with a taunt onto the Zac, but nothing's going to come of it. They know Zac doesn't have split, but Fan's going to go in and not catch anybody with that ult. Immediately get exhausted. There's a Nami wave going out, but Cookville's on the backside, picking up 1 kill. Will they pick up another one here? They will. That's going to be a double for Fan there.
You're seeing that Fanatil is just a monster right now, especially alongside Cuckbelly.
Yeah, the one thing that NCSU Prime didn't want to happen if the Hecarim pick was going to go over to Supernova was the, kind of the snowball effect from the Hecarim. He's managed to build Triforce, almost at the 14-minute mark. Yeah, at the 14-minute mark, he was able to build Triforce, which has really sped the process of the OP Hecarim along. And now they're going to look for a kill on Syndra Cookville, knowing that he really could take turret shots, as long as he's got the ultimate up on Poppy, and he will. Under 2 turrets, Supernova looking for kills. Doesn't look like they're going to find anything. If not, they're not careful, they will spell death for Cookville, but unfortunately, it looks like they're going to get out with their lives, burning 3 flashes just to get away.
Fanatil almost went down, but he is now recovering his health thanks to Philly, and they are now taking Dragon, it looks like, with NCSU Prime slowly approaching.
Right there, Supernova. Looks like they're just going to pick up the Cloud Drake and try to run away. Ezreal caught in the backside by the Zac, by the Poppy, but it looks like he's able to E away just in time for Fan to E down the Zac. Popping that Ghost and the Trundle, looking for a pillar possibly. There's the pillar, catching out Caitlyn, stuck between the wall and the pillar. A great pillar on the side of Cookville, as NCSU Prime is just left to get slaughtered down by the Hecarim Trundle combo. There's the ultimate from Fan, being a little aggressive with no health.
No fear.
No fear. As it goes in again, he might die to the Syndra, but unfortunately will live with 25 health.
Wisely backing away a little bit. And that is going to be another turret for Supernova of him having full control of this game at a 10k gold lead.
Yeah, with the gold that they have, like you said, we see the Iceborne now on 2 champions on the side of Supernova. We see it on the Trundle, we see it on the Ezreal. So engages a lot more difficult for the side of NCSU Prime. Going onto targets usually means that they're going to get slowed and kited away. If NCSU Prime wants to find a way back into this game, they're going to need to look for picks. They're going to need to look for picks on the Ahri, on the Ezreal, and then back away. Trundle and Hecarim are doing quite a large amount of damage, and they are really what's making it problematic for NCSU Prime, surprisingly enough. And the carries are just cleaning up. So if NCSU Prime wants a way back in the game, they need to ward up, look for picks on the carries, and try to back away and rinse and repeat that process. But it looks like Supernova now, looking for a Rift Herald.
We're going to go ahead and give it some love before the 20-minute mark. Just in time for Baron to spawn. We're seeing Shadow Vision's maybe looking for... Nah, just saying hi with the... And Trundle going to go ahead and pick up that Rift Herald buff. There's a Ghost.
And there's the Ghost, and like we said, they're just going to continue this kind of rampage toward NCSU Prime. They know how big their team is, and they're just going to continue running at them as long as they've got that Hecarim ult. Hecarim going to use the plant to try to get closer to the Poppy, but the Poppy puts up her E and manages to knock him away.
And I don't... There's almost no... There's very limited paths for NCSU Prime to take to get back into this game. They may just have to decide to take this to a game 2 and do a reverse sweep.
Yeah,
Maybe,
absolutely.
Maybe consider either picking Hecarim or banning him.
Well, and the trend we've seen throughout this Reverie tournament is Cuckville now looks for a kill on Plucking, taking away all of his armor here, looking to disauto him, but unfortunately Pluck is going to manage to just bounce over that wall and get away to safety. But as we've seen throughout Reverie today, the Hecarim pick usually meant a one-sided game for the team that had it. We saw NCSU Prime take it in their match prior to this, and they were full control 14-2 at the 16-minute mark. vice versa. We saw Supernova do the same thing. 18 minutes, it was, 20 to 10. So Hecarim right now looks like it's spelling wins for teams. So we'll probably see that get banned by either team in the next picker ban.
And at the 20-minute mark, no inhibitors are down, but that is all but one outer turret, it looks like, are down for the side of NCSU Prime. I mean, they have yet to kill a turret. So they looking very grim at the moment. Especially with a 5-0 and 11 Trundle, a 7-2 and 9 Hecarim, and a 5-0 and 8 Ezreal. Seeing poor Barcode that hasn't even completed his first item yet. Well, seeing 1 or 2 completed items for the rest of everybody else.
Absolutely, and right now we're just seeing Supernova with their 11k gold lead kind of just taking the driver's side of this game and, kind of putting their pedal to the metal and looking for the win here shortly as they do push into the tier 2 mid. They have the tier 2 down on top. They just need the tier 2 bottom lane, and then they have quite the map control. Looking at the side of Supernova, we have a 5-0 Trundle and a 5-0 Ezreal, so they will be quite problematic for NCSU Prime. NCSU Prime, though, again, down but not out. We haven't seen the surrender vote, so that means they haven't quite given up yet. And it's going to be lengthy, but there is a way back into the game. Picks could mean everything for them, especially if they kill carries pretty quick. They can kind of clean up around them. The scary part of it is, what do you do when Hecarim is also a carry?
He is definitely very terrifying. We've seen how much damage he can do with a Rampage, just diving into a team. But I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not over till it's over. We last night we saw Supernova Gemini against NCSU Prime having an enormous lead for their last. Oh,
and right in there, Yen with the amazing Ezreal there to just pick up the kill. Shadow Vision's blindsided by the fact that Ezreal was coming through. Managed to get bursted down just enough by Ahri for Yen to pick up the kill. Right here we see Kukfel with the Rift Herald buff creating quite the pressure in the bottom lane, like we said, looking for tier 2 to create more map pressure, and because of that, SN's looking for a Baron. But if they're not careful, this could be detrimental to them. Caitlyn and Karma rotating towards it, but still a little too slow on the side of Shadow Vision as Filthy is going to hop over the wall with Flash and pick up a kill on Caitlyn. And Zach over the wall, who's going to steal the Baron away.
Penguin showing that once again he's always a fantastic jungler, even if he has been a little lack this game. That was a fantastic steal. He's going to pay for it with his life, though.
And right there, Supernova unfortunately not being able to pick up the Baron as Pluckin comes over that wall, picks it up with Smite, loses life for it. They're going to look now to go mid lane and pick up an inhibitor for what they've just lost in objectives.
That's fucking Penguin with 2 Baron steals in 2 days. Very well played.
Looks like Supernova is now just going to back off here, taking their 11k gold lead, saying, hey, let's play it safe. Let's go back to base, pick up some items and wait out this Baron. Baron on 2 players on the side of NCSU Prime, so Poppy still has it in Karma.
They're going to go ahead and take another Ocean Drake, it looks like. Which, of course, is pretty useful when you're sieging a base. That extra health and mana regen are always helpful. Things are slowing up as the side of Supernova is now just getting back from their base, all with new items, such as a Guardian Angel for Fanatil.
Yeah, so Fan's now going to get a Guardian Angel, which allows him to ult in and try to 1v5 a little bit more, because it seems to be his favorite thing in this tournament. But Philly may be caught out here as Caitlyn's going to ult and Poppy's going to look for a kill. But Hecarim's going to come in, make his presence known, and try to save his fellow comrade's life, but he may lose his because of it with the GA up. He's going to ult away. Will he be able to get out? He will, but Philly will lose his life. Again, like we said, game is not over yet. NCSU Prime finding the picks that they need, picking up a kill on Philly.
I imagine they'd really want to pick up a kill on one of those nice gold bonuses, but they're going to take what they can get, which is also going to be their first turret. Making good use
And
of
now
that Baron.
Yeah, and if SN's not careful, they're going to actually lose a tier 2 here due to the Baron buff and due to not having a support and having 3 of their members back. Fan now looking to go in, but has nothing to go in with. He used his ult to back out. Filthy's going to find a kill, though, onto the Karma. They might find a double here onto the Caitlyn. Red buff's on Caitlyn, but she will die in the process. Still being kited away as Zach's doing his best to try to kite SN around the wall. Poppy's going to flash over the wall. Zach's going to try to bounce away, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out. Cuckvel just chopping him for the kill.
So the power of that challenging smite, the burn finishing off Barcode as he was trying to get away.
Yeah, and Fan there, we saw him playing with a bit of confidence, knowing that he still has the GA, so, willing to go in and die for his team as long as they cleaned up. Ezreal still does not have a death on the board at 8-0-11, so he's definitely preserving that KDA for his team.
He's got that death stance, he's got the Muramana, so he is going to be doing quite a bit of damage, and he's also deceptively durable. One scary Ezreal, and it's still with a scary Fan of Tilt and a scary Cuckbell as well with the 6-0 and 14 Trundle.
Absolutely, and the Muramana with the Death Stance creates quite the proc that does quite a bit of damage. Something that a lot of people don't really build when they're behind, so that's why we see a lot of blue Ezreals. We see a lot of Iceborne Gauntlets into Muramana, into items that are a bit safer, things like Lay the Rune King, Bloodthirster. But it looks like Cuckvel may be cut out here by the Karma Caitlyn as they're going to look to throw down some damage on him, but he's just going to walk away, preserving his KDA of 6-0 and 14.
Unfortunately for Barcode, he does not have that Infinity Edge completed. He's still working on it. He only has the Ruinous Hurricane as a completed item. Desperately needs some gold here. He is backing. There's the Infinity Edge, so that is going to make him hit a little harder. Imagine he'll take what he can get. While the rest of Supernova is posturing on that right side, Cuckvelli is going to be sitting at top, continuing to push. There's not a whole lot Gisker can do to stop him other than killing minions here.
Yeah, Cuckvel using that to his advantage, but Fan, like we said, is underneath the turret right now, looking for a kill on the Caitlyn. He's going to go in on the Caitlyn. Does he have ultimate? He does, but he's going to hold on to it, and he's just going to take the turret shots for his team as NCSU Prime looked to pick up a kill where they could on the ever so deep Supernova. Yanyar quite low here. Philly going to try to heal him up, but he's still going to be chunked quite a bit if they're not careful. It could be problematic for them, but it looks like they're going to be okay. So they're going to back away, wait for their wave.
Gisker getting a little stun onto Cuckbell, allowing a one turret shot to hit him. It is a Trundle though, so he is going to heal up quite quickly. And Supernova is still kind of just steadily pushing into the base while NCC Prime just focuses on clearing waves. That turret is going to go down in one or two more pushes, though.
Yeah, Supernova looking to just chunk away the turret, put some damage on it, but it looks like a trap's going to catch Fan. Zach's going to go in and get that shield that we talked about, but Fan's going to ult on 2 of the carries, on the Syndra, on the Caitlyn. They now have to back away, but they're going to find a kill onto Philly. Caitlyn now in the trade, 0 for 1 in the favor of NCSU Prime, but Supernova looking for another kill somewhere. Fortunately won't find one, so right there NCSU Prime getting the pick they need is Supernova just not paying attention, stepped on a trap and spelled death for the support.
Fentilt's almost going down, not really respecting the damage output that even though that NCSU Prime is so far behind, it's a Caitlyn with an Infinity Edge and it's a Syndra, and Syndra can definitely put out the DPS.
Yeah, NCSU Prime doing a very good job holding their own, being 10,000 gold behind, just trying to slow the pace at their own base, and wait for Supernova to make mistakes. Supernova, if they get too cocky and they keep trying to dive into these turrets, could spell more deaths than just that one, and eventually, NCSU Prime will scale into the game.
We do see that 2 side objectives are going to be spawning at the same time, both Baron and Dragon. Looks like it's in another Infernal Drake. We'll have to see if NCSU Prime can contest either one of those objectives. Just putting some vision on the Baron, making sure it can't be snuck away.
Absolutely, and we see that it looks like Ezreal is going to move into his Zeal. So we're seeing a Phantom Dancer most likely coming up as the next item for Ezreal, as Trundle just finished a ZZ Rot portal, again to create more pressure top. Supernova going to look to play the split game as they leave Trundle top with the ZZ Rot, trying to open up the base while they just tap at mid, they're going to look for their second Infernal Drake of the game. But because of that, NCSU Prime's making some moves at Baron.
And it's slowly working on that Drake. There it is. He does pick it up. That is going to be the fourth Drake of the game for Supernova.
Yeah, and that's going to be the fourth Drake going down. That's 2 Infernals, a Mountain, and a Cloud Drake for the side of Supernova. So quite the arsenal of dragons behind them.
Having full control of those side objectives is to give them a lot of power. We're seeing Cookbilly and Giskard going at it. It would take a decent amount of time just to kill him with autos. He would need to use the subjugation, and he might use it here. He's going for the dive.
Absolutely, and he's going to keep trying to put damage down onto this Poppy. Poppy just going to play it safe underneath the turret, knowing that Cookville steps one step too forward. Her team will be there to answer. But it looks like SN's now going to try for the Baron again. NCSU Prime, though, primed and ready on the side of the wall as they're going to hope for their Zac or their Cinder to pick up a steal. But Cookville on the side to get the flash from the Caitlyn, looking for a kill for himself. Zac's going to go over the wall a little early there if they're not careful, though. Fan going to pick up the Baron this time around. Pluck not able to pick up his third steal this week. Now Fan going over the wall with the ult, picking up the Caitlyn that did not have flash. Ezreal's going to pick up the Zac that unfortunately doesn't have passive now. And they're going to flash over the wall, but missed the taunt on the Syndra. Syndra going to retaliate with a kill on Filthy as she loses her own life.
He's the only survivors for NCC Prime, being Giskard and Hani. They don't have the DPS they need to keep them from killing the turret, but that would be enough to keep them from ending the game. It looks like Supernova's going to play it safe and start pushing these waves back up.
Absolutely, and it looks like Supernova now, they're just going to group with the Baron buff they have. They have GA on their jungler, so it's still a safe bet to go ahead and take fights. Ultimates will be back up here in roughly 40-45 seconds, so they have a pretty safe bet right now as timers are still at 15 seconds. Poppy and Karma doing their best to just hold on, but Trundle's going to pop ult on the Poppy and just do massive amounts of damage to her. Fan looking for a kill of his own as he gets the exhaust out of Karma. Poppy now just playing on the backside, knowing that she can't really go in. Zac's gonna go in. He's gonna get that massive shield from Courage of the Colossus. They're now just looking to peel for Caitlyn as Caitlyn does a good amount of damage to Fan. Fan still having GA. But Yenyar in the backline throwing out his Qs. He's gonna pick up a kill. That's gonna be one for the side of Supernova as they're still pushing forward. Supernova now, they're gonna pick up what looks like 2 kills as Fan picks up Kate and dies on the base, just going a little bit too ham. Ezreal now picking up a triple kill, or double kill for himself, I'm sorry. Gonna die to the Syndra, but it looks like Syndra's just gonna go down to Cookville on this Trundle, and it looks like they're just gonna push in with this top wave and end the game.
Seeing Cookbilly have to take the long way around to get back to that wave and help push that turret down. They still have the Baron buff. We're gonna see 10 seconds before Penguin's up. He might be able
that
to stall
ZZ
it.
Rot bottom opened up the bottom inhibitor, so if anything goes wrong here, which doesn't look like there will be, you know, the base is open for other options for them to win on, but it looks like they're just going to use the Nami ult. They're going to stop the Zac's elastic jump, and it looks like they're just going to pick up an extra kill for the KDA and end the game. 36-11 in the favor of Supernova. Game 1.
Super was taking firm control of the game at around the 10-minute mark and didn't let go at all. Played a very clean game. And with that, we're going to be moving on to Game 2. We have to see if NCSU Prime can make a recovery and reverse sweep this game out. And while we get back into lobby, we are going to go ahead and take a tiny little music break for you guys. And once we're in Champion Select, we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere, guys. And we're back with the second round of our finals for this November buy-in tournament with NCSU Prime down on the back foot right now. 0-1. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and ban out Bard as their first ban here. Making sure that Philly doesn't get it. Though Hani himself is a pretty good Bard player.
Yeah. So the Bard again is kind of an interesting ban for the side of NCSU Prime. I kind of understood why it was coming out of Supernova because Haney was playing it at a, quite high level of play in the past matches. Philly haven't seen quite as many matches on Bard from him in the last couple of games in Reverie. So it is quite the interesting ban. But we see the respect ban coming out from Supernova to retaliate with that Ivern. Don't want to see plucking on it. Don't want to have to deal with the CC it kind of provides for a team. On the side of NCSU Prime, though, we see Shen going out as a respect ban towards Cookville and is also a very strong pick. So
there's the respect ban for Pluckin' Penguins Rek'Sai. And now we have to see if they're going to ban Hecarim here.
Yeah, and again, they're putting a lot of respect on the jungler for the side of NCSU Prime, Plugging Penguin, showing quite the amount of plays that he can make on Ivern and Rek'Sai. So curious to see what the last bans will be for both teams. As Trundle, another respect ban going out towards Cuckville. So we'll probably see maybe another jungler ban, possibly a OP ban. Yeah, so a jungler ban, the Hecarim. So knowing that they're not on blue side, SN's going to get rid of Hecarim to avoid kind of that, train running through a team. They don't want to have to be on the side of, the side that doesn't have Hecarim, so they're just going to ban it so neither team has it. So that kind of leaves some interesting picks up for both teams. Still have Syndra left up. Syndra can still be picked for either side. You still have quite the amount of mid laners like LeBlanc. LeBlanc is still a very strong pick right now, almost burst as hard as Syndra does, if not harder.
And that does leave Zach open for Pluck and Penguin, but I don't know if they're going to first pick it in light of all those other picks being available. Taking their time, deciding what they want to do here, and they're actually going to hover Karma. And there it is. That most likely is going to be a support Karma for Hani, though we have seen top lane Karma before, and mid lane Karma is actually more common than top lane Karma, I should say. But it's most likely support still. We'll have to see what else they pick here. And we're seeing Supernova kind of taking their time here. They were very dominant that last game. At the 10-minute mark, they kind of took control of the reins and never once gave it back. Taking every dragon, all but one Baron, which was brilliantly stolen by Pluck and Penguins, Zach.
And it's a great thing that both teams kind of have done throughout this tournament. NCSU Prime and Supernova, they know when they have a lead how to kind of drive that lead to their win, which can be, difficult for newer teams. But it's quite obvious that the teams aren't newer, as the timer is going to go down to 0, and it looks like 2 picks are going to come out. We're going to get the Thresh and the Lee Sin. So a pocket pick for the support of Supernova and a pocket pick for Fan, the jungler of Supernova. Some picks that we see quite often from them in solo queue. Competitively, only seen them on these picks a couple of times, so I'm curious to see how this kind of pans out.
Definitely an interesting choice. We don't see a whole lot of Thresh release in. When we do, though, occasionally we see these just amazing plays come into play because we don't see Thresh release in all that often. So when we do see them and they're really good, it's always very exciting because everyone's seen the excitement that when Mad Life was playing a lot with Thresh and Blitzcrank, that a good hook can be just amazing.
And right there, we see an unconventional pick coming out of the side of NCSU Prime as they pick up the Sivir 80 carry. We see a lot of teams recently that are a little bit more late game team fight oriented picking up Sivir. We saw her quite frequently. If anybody tuned into the amateur scouting rounds, we saw her picked up quite often in the scouting rounds as the coaching staff there aimed for the late game, which is really what Sivir is built for. Once she's got 3 items, she's almost an unstoppable monster when it comes to damage, especially if she's peeled for and left alone. So I'm quite interested to see how NCSU Prime kind of fits this into their team comp. It can be quite the turnaround point for a team late game, but early, if it gets behind, can also spell, a loss.
Definitely had to see how they work the on the hunt and the the Karma shield movement speed boost, and gives them a ton of mobility, lots of ability to either disengage or engage. And then it's going to be Yenny picking up the Ezreal again. Oh, and I didn't mention it, but Cuckville is going to be playing the new Yorick, so that'll be interesting to see because we've only seen him once or twice here at Reverie, not very frequently. So it's always exciting to see him brought out and see his new kit at work. But that is going to be a mid laner and a jungler are going to be needed for the side of NCSU Prime here. We've seen Shadow Visions. He has played Syndra, he's played LeBlanc, he's played a bunch of different AP mid laners. We've even seen him in Victor and such. And there is, speaking of Victor, there it is.
Yeah, so they are definitely going to be looking to focus this team comp around the Sivir. They have quite the peel for her with Karma, Poppy, and Victor. The Olaf is more of a, hey, when Sivir presses R, I'm going to go in and look for the first carry I can to kill. So it's a good lineup on the side of NCSU Prime. Some interesting picks, and I'm kind of, wondering how this is going to kind of pan out. Are they looking for the late game with the Sivir and the Victor? Are they looking for a little bit more of a mid-game comp? But on the side of Supernova, we see the Yorick being picked for Cuckville, and we're going to see the Ezreal again for Yenyar, something that worked out as a safety pick for him earlier against the Caitlyn Karma. This time, playing the safety role again, nothing too aggressive, but at the same time, if he lands some Qs, could pick up some kills. We might actually see an Alistar as Supernova looks to put another tank on their lineup.
No, it was going to be they needed a mid liner still. I mean,
Well, I guess we're not going to get to see the Alistar mid. No fun in the game. But no, it's going to be an Orianna pickup for the side of Supernova as I misspoke, not paying attention to the champions that were already picked.
I was thinking Alistair, that didn't sound right. What's going on here? That would have actually been interesting if they locked it in, but of course it is going to be the Orianna, as mentioned. The character that always makes a return, no matter what. Buffs or no buffs. And it looks like my major concern is I don't think I've seen Penguin play Olaf before, and Olaf has always had mixed results here at these tournaments. At one moment he'll be amazing, but the next game he'll just be, he dives into the enemy team and just explodes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Where an Olaf player kind of falls off is, you're right. Early game, a team usually follows an Olaf to picking up kills. It's the late game where good Olaf players get separated from bad Olaf players. So a good Olaf player makes his team aware that he's going in, and his team follows him. A bad Olaf player is going to press R, press Ghost, and go in without really anybody noticing, and that's usually what puts them behind. So Pluckin having such success on a lot of these junglers, I don't expect that from him. I actually hope that he's going to match it up with his Sivir, and as soon as she presses R, you'll see him kind of move forward, and at least hopefully the team will be forced to follow up. But the side of NCSU Prime, they have quite the go comp. You have the Sivir ultimates. You have the Karma speed up. You have, Poppy with her own version of a speed up. So if they play it correctly, they can make picks across the map if Supernova's sleeping on it. On the side of Supernova, though, they have their niche picks. We have Cuckville with his Yorick top lane. We have Fan with his Lee Sin. Philly on his Thresh. So it'll be interesting. It's the go comp versus the niche. So I'm excited to kind of see how it pans out.
We'll have to see if the NCSU Prime can make a better landing phase than they had previously, because Vanitilt just kind of took control of the game with it. Hecarim and was just constantly ganking, constantly diving. And we'll have to see if Giskard does a better job of holding onto his teleport in the early game and prevent the same mistake of happening last time where Cuckville's Trundle did teleport to that bottom side and basically enabled a triple kill. And on that note, it's about a minute and a half into our delay. We're going to take a small, tiny commercial break. And as soon as we're in game, I should say, because we're in Champion Select right now, we'll be back. So don't go anywhere, folks. And we're back for the second round of the finals for our November buy-in tournament, though we are at a sepia screen currently. Apparently somebody's screen took a poop, so I'm going to go ahead and fix my scoreboard. And we'll have to see if NCSU Prime can make a recovery, since this is, of course, they need to win this game to take it to a game 3, and they were not so hot in the last game. Supernova, once again, took a strong lead fairly early and never really let go.
Yeah, so like you said, we are here in the finals of the Reverie buy-in tournament. For those that don't know, this is a monthly thing. There is roughly 4 tournaments that can lead you into the tournament at the end of the month, which is played for cash. Only 1 prize at the end for the first place team. So both these teams are going to be fighting it out for that first place prize. Always gets me in a tongue twister. But these tournaments are open to the public. So if you have a team and you want to try to test your skills and might at this, always look for the Reverie tournaments every Friday and Saturday. Friday is specifically for lower elo, and Saturday's an open, so all teams are welcome to come and play.
Always happy to see new teams. It's always exciting to see how far new teams can get, because sometimes we always have really interesting results, like we've had free agent teams actually make it all the way to the finals before, so that's always exciting to see how new players do. And we do have a reconnect. The pause is going down. There it is. Both teams are lining up at the gate, waiting for it to drop. We see a ping in the bush there. Looks like NCSU might do a 5-man cluster, maybe look for a pick. It is something to keep in mind. Because Philly is on Thresh, teams with Thresh sometimes do go for invades, looking for a catch. So it looks like NCSU may be wanting to turn the tables on such a plan. Maybe using Henny as bait. But it looks like Supernova is going to play it super safe and just chill.
Yeah, so it looks like the teams are going to kind of pan out. Well, at least Supernova is going to pan out and just watch as they're actually going to ward the blue buff early on the side of NCSU Prime. So they are aware that they're not on that side, which you saw them ping. They know that they are going to be on the red side. So the question is, are they grouped together looking for a early invade here? Are they just grouped to be grouped?
I think they were looking for a counter invade. They were expecting it with the Philly being on Thresh, but Supernova just going to go ahead and counter that out by not doing that. And we're seeing that both junglers are going to be starting on the top side, and look, but Supernova's going to be aware where Penguin's at because of that ward. There's that ping. They do know it is being done.
Yep, so it looks like the standard start, but it looks like Philly and Yen are going to look for an early kill here. Philly flays Haney here. Haney's going to take a good amount of damage. She's going to have to pop push him, but it doesn't look like they're going to get any summoners out. So I guess,
damage themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of an even trade as they put a lot of damage on Haney, but evenly take a lot of damage amongst the two of them.
Well, good Q by Yenny, hitting Haney a little bit more. Shouldn't deter Haney too much. He's always been a super aggressive support. We'll have to see if he continues that trend when the dangers of a Thresh hook.
Absolutely, and the Thresh hook on Karma or even Sivir could spell death. Now we have Yen on Ezreal, so not really a burst AD carry, but can do quite a good amount of damage if he gets a combo off. We're gonna see Cutvel putting some damage down. Flashed by Poppy, as Fan is gonna look for the first blood. He's gonna miss the Q by an inch as Poppy manages to keep her life but lose her flash.
Gisker being clenched a little bit there, happy to escape with his life, but very unfortunately being forced to pop that flash within the first 3 minutes of the game. You are making good use of the wall ability that he has. And on that note, Penguin making good use of that information of the early Lee Sin gank and going for that blue buff to make sure that it can't be taken. But then now we're seeing a mid lane gank by Phantom.
And there's that hook we talked about underneath the turret. as they're going to throw some damage down, but they're going to retaliate with damage back from Karma. He's going to E away out of the Karma RQ, but it looks like Fan now is looking for a kill onto Pluck, and as they're going to pop Ghost and go for him, he's got the red buff, they've got the Orianna, they're going to pick up first blood here. Will they continue? They've got them in a chokehold here. Philly with the hook, he's going to catch the Karma, he's going to go in and flay, but Victor has the Void Field down. And they're going to drag it out. Sivir's going to throw some damage, but she's out of mana. There's no more abilities that are going to come out of her. Fan may look for a Q over the wall, but he's not going to find anything but a minion. So 1-0 Supernova as they manage to pick up a kill onto Pluck in there.
Well, Fan of Tilt getting his blue buff back, even if it was kind of in a roundabout way. Penguin just going to help Shadow Visions, but unfortunately not able to, kind of hesitated on whether or not to run away or engage, and he paid the price. That is going to get Fan of Tilt a nice advantage on that Lee Sin. First blood is always helpful. We're seeing both carries on their first back to have purchased a call, and are happily going to go ahead and farm it up.
Yeah, so Sivir, like we said, she's really late game oriented. She definitely wants that call, and she definitely wants to play the farm game. Ezreal, kind of the same format. Ezreal's looking for something along the sides of, you know, like the same thing, like the Trinity Force build. We may actually see, again, more of the blue Ezreal, knowing that we have an Olaf and a Poppy, and knowing that they're just going to come running at him. So blue build would probably be the best bet.
Does make a pretty significant amount of sense. And there's Filthy getting stunned up.
Yeah, Philly's going to get stunned up, but Philly's going to rotate up and manage to land the hook onto Shadow Visions. Shadow Visions, though, going to flash away and be okay.
Filthy owes Philly a beer, it looks like.
Yeah, no
Could've been
kidding.
bad news.
And that's going to be something a little bit different that we're going to see from Philly this time around in this game. He's actually going to roam quite a bit more with the Thresh, knowing that, you know, Sivir, Karma, they're going to play a safer lane. They just want Sivir to farm. So Philly, knowing that he doesn't really want to waste too many hooks onto a Sivir with her spell shield, is going to roam and look for kills elsewhere. As we saw there, got the flash out of the Victor in the mid lane.
Certainly very helpful considering that Filthy still has his own flash, and they're rapidly approaching level 6. And without flash, Shadow Visions could be in very deep trouble. Yeah, he's taking a little damage there, but there is the lantern. He is going to take it. Or not. He's just going to walk over it.
Yeah, so Yen managing to avoid the Sivir Q, but managed to take all of her autos to the face, which is going to do quite a bit of damage to him. CS still pretty even in that lane. Nothing crazy happening quite yet. It is very reliant on both the supports hitting their abilities for these AD carries to follow up. Cuckvel, though, no mana left, is looking to throw some damage down. He's got Fan there. Fan's going to look for a kill, but not find anything as he walks through the Poppy Q. Oh, and there's that shield we were talking about.
So good hook by Philly, but Barcode with the quick reactions able to get some free mana back.
And Cuckvel puts a ward down. Fan gonna miss that Q again by an inch, and it looks like Cuckvel's actually gonna die to the turret. So some miscommunication there, and a missed Q led Cuckvel to his death, as well as Fan, as Pluckin is going to help Poppy pick up that kill. 1-1, game still very close for both sides. Philly's gonna go in and flay. They're gonna look to make a trade here.
Stunned, snared up, I should say, and they're hitting Barcode pretty hard though.
Yeah, Barcode didn't manage to connect that Q with anybody, so a good amount of his damage didn't go out.
Oh, here comes Filthy though, sneaking in from behind.
And they're going to pick up a kill there on Haney as they manage to throw that flay in there. Haney was just a little too deep. Filthy going to pop Ghost on the Orianna, but not find a kill. We'll find an assist, though, for, you know, throwing out a little bit of damage.
He does pop Barcode's flash, though. So that is a value. Ghost for flash is a pretty good trade overall, I'd say. And is going to put Barcode in potentially a bad spot in the future, though he still has the heal.
Yep, and it looks like NCSU Prime's going to pass over that blue buff to their Victor. Pretty standard. Looks like the blue buff for Supernova's coming up soon, so we should see Orianna picking up that as well.
And overall, the match is much slower than before. We're seeing not quite as explosive play as before.
No, not quite. Both teams just looking for... Oh, Filthy's going to use the ult just to put some damage down onto Shadow Visions, and he's going to do a good amount. More so with the ball W than he will with the ult.
did proc the Thunder Lords there.
Oh!
Oh, hello.
Philly not paying attention, plucking right behind him. But it looks like Philly's going to get out with his life. Unfortunately, not able to make a play mid lane. Cogvel going to continue putting damage down onto this Poppy.
And Discord wisely going to just go ahead and back off away from those ghouls. Though he is taking a lot more damage than he'd probably like here. And Penguin going to happily take that mid lane farm while Shadow Visions returns to base after getting ulted by Filthy.
And it looks like Cookvel's going to go in and look to trade some damage down on Poppy. She's going to use her ult to kind of slow that process down. Unfortunately, still nothing exciting happening up in the top lane. Just a normal trade for nothing.
Really going to go ahead and take that. The salmon-colored word whose name I've forgotten. Counter ward? No. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten it since they changed it from Vision ward. Oh, there's the hunt.
And it looks like they're going to go all in here as Plucking Penguin's going to find a kill with his Q. Fans down there, but they're going to trade TP for TP as Poppy's going to join the fight. Unfortunately, Orianna, though, is a good amount away. Are they going to find the kill on Plucking? They are, as Cookfell manages to throw down the W. They're looking for more here as Supernova and NCSU Prime are going back and forth. She's going to manage to flash the Orianna ult. The Orianna ult now down. They're going to continue throwing damage as Yenyar, he's going to throw out his ultimate and chunk down this back line. 1 for 1 there.
Absolutely. So even trade, though, in terms of health, Supernova came out slightly ahead, but there was overall some very brilliant play by both teams. Good use of flashes and making sure they could pick up the kills that they could.
And what we may see here is Supernova grouping for an objective, possibly Dragon. Doesn't look like it, though. The health bar is a little low. They may look to just pick up their buffs and go ahead and bounce on out.
It would be the wiser decision. Starting a Dragon with low health when both teams are basically still alive may not be the wisest decision. Seeing Fanatilt is going to go ahead and take Wolf before backing.
And as we look at the CS, we see a 20 CS lead for Cookville up in the top lane over Poppy. We see pretty even, if not dead even, CS in the jungle. We see Filthy's up roughly 10, and again, even on the 80 carry. So nothing crazy right now. Mostly just in the kills and shutdowns is where some of this gold lead lies for Supernova.
No turrets are down yet. Giskard avoiding the wall this time. He has to be very careful because obviously Cookville is fairly dominant in that lane, rushing that Trinity Force out while Giskard's going for the Sunfire. No, there it is. He is going to catch him that time, though. We are seeing a roam to top, though. Here comes both Penguin and Shadow Visions. Cookville could be in huge trouble.
Cookville doesn't have anything but the ghost. He's going to pop it, but unfortunately he's going to get slowed. Oh, he's not going to pop the ghost. He's going to hold on to it. He got slowed twice by the Olaf Q. A very good rotation from Pluckin and Victor. Victor's going to pick up the kill there.
Probably pretty a wise decision not to pop the ghost. It wasn't likely to get away under those undertows.
Yeah, Fan was looking to go in and try to stop this turret from going down topside, but it doesn't look like he's even going to attempt to help it. You know, I would assume that Cookville said, hey, just let it go down. I want to farm, you know, towards my tier 2 right now after being killed 3 times.
They are going to pick it up. They are going to back off. And there's a ping going down on the Shadow Visions. He did walk past the ward. They do know he's there. But
And that's going to put a
1K
1K gold lead for the side of NCSU Prime. So this time around, NCSU Prime starting off strong. You know, Olaf and Victor making some great rotations for their team to kind of catch Supernova sleeping on their own rotations.
As you mentioned, there's Cookville. He is farming a little bit at his turret. Not sure if he's pushing up yet because the directed camera is kind of moving around in other places. But I imagine he is going to freeze it there for just a minute or so. His teleport should be up soon. Same time as Gisker's actually, because they did teleport to the bottom side at the exact same moment. Dragon is still available as an objective.
Yeah, and it looks like Supernova's going to start moving their way towards the dragon. Look to clear some vision. But unfortunately, they're just going to pick up the scuttle and walk away from it. They don't want to risk a team fight that they don't need right now. Cuckville, like we said, was okay losing the turret. He just wants to farm underneath. Supernova, not that far behind now as they're catching up in CS. Roughly only 700 gold down. They're starting to kind of close the gap that they had lost not too long ago.
Actually seeing that Giskard has finished at some fire cape, so that is going to give him some additional wave clear, make it a little easier for him to keep the waves pushed up. And both teleports are just about up. They're about 99% done, so that it should open up some possible teleport fights. Other than that, both teams are playing very passive right now, kind of waiting for the other to make a crucial mistake. Or an opening for a gank, like possibly in mid lane here, where Fantilt's kind of hanging out. Well, he wants it, but Shadow Visions is playing very safe. Not interested in getting ganked again.
Yeah, and then again, both these teams are just kind of waiting. They know there's certain item spikes that they need. Top lane, he's looking for that Trinity Force spike. Mid lane, looking for that Morella Namakan. And bottom lane has the Mirror Mana, but wants, obviously, to finish the call and start making ways towards his Iceborne.
Ooh, Filthy popping the flash and the ghost. Penguin dodging out that Q. Only Gisker getting caught up by that shockwave. It's a good rotation by Gisker, allowing them to put a lot of pressure onto that middle turret. So almost dead. This next push should do the trick, especially now that the bottom side has rotated up.
Absolutely, and this time around, NCSU Prime, they're the ones making the good rotations here. They're not going to go for a dragon, and then right after that dragon, possibly look for that bottom turret, as it does have a good amount of damage on it from the last team fight.
There's not a lot of vision here. They're able to take this in complete fog of war. So there's no way that Supernova is going to be able to get in position to take this without a blind Ezreal ultimate. But there it is. That is their first dragon of the game, going over to NCSU Prime this time. So table is kind of being reversed. Maybe not to as an extreme amount, but so far NCSU Prime has the lead.
Yeah, and right there we see the item spikes coming in now for the teams, as mid lane now picks up his Merlin Omicron, and top lane now picks up a Trinity Force. NCSU Prime, though, they have the lead. And hopefully, if they play it correctly, they can extend this lead a bit further. Like we said, the nice thing about both these teams, what they do well, is play with the leads that they have. So hopefully NCSU Prime plays it smart, plays it well, and can continue this push. On the side of Supernova, though, if they want to win this, they need to start looking for better rotations on the map. You know, they let top tier 1 turret go down to allow Cookville some space to farm, which he is now 50 farm above his top laner. But in retaliation, they let a lot of pressure go on the map. So it has led NCSU Prime to take a lead of their own.
Definitely interesting to see what happens next. We see Fantilt kind of hanging around that top side, but he has been pinged a couple of times. They knew he was there. We see the Rift Herald is still up, and it'll be up for another 3 minutes. It'll be interesting to see if a team tries to make an effort to take this, but they'd have to probably gank the top side for that to happen. So far, Penguins kind of hanging out that bottom side.
Yeah, like we said, with the Karma and with the Sivir ultimate, Pluckin is almost an unstoppable train. He can just push his ult and nothing will stop him, so he can kill a carry pretty easily and have the speed to catch up and do it.
And he is going for that Righteous Glory, which will further enable that. And of course, give him some health, which is always very useful on an Olaf. Both teams still taking it slow. Neither wants to make a mistake here, because obviously Supernova wants to take this to a 2-0, and NCCU Prime wants to take it to a 1-1 to ensure that they get another chance at taking this series.
And it looks like they're going to make that great rotation game down bottom lane as they send 4 bottom lane. As Pluckin now is going to look for a kill onto Yeniar. Yeniar is going to take the lantern away into safety, but they may just pick up a free turret here as Supernova doesn't have anybody there to answer right now. They're going to look to go in on the play. They're not. They're going to let the turret go down. Now there's nothing for them to hide under. They're going to look to go in with Pluckin. Pluckin's going to push that ultimate, push that R, and go. He's going to get exhausted, though, and unfortunately, get out with his life. Oh, but Fan looking to retaliate as he kicks Pluckin back to it. Pluckin still not going down. They're going to pick up one kill on the side of Victor. Victor takes down Orianna with that burst of the ultimate. Fan's going to find one onto Sever. Looks like Cuckville now looking to make his own trade while everything's going on. Shadow Vision's now got a double. Shadow Vision now has a triple kill for the side of NCSU Prime. Cuckville, though, pushing that ghost. He now wants to pick up a kill while his team's being killed in the bottom lane. Shadow Vision's now looking for his quadra kill. Is he going to find it? He is. Shadow Vision gets an unofficial quadra kill. But Cuckville going to pick up a kill of his own. So quite the mishap for Supernova as Victor now is 5-0. Shadow Vision's playing extremely well and catching Supernova sleeping.
Definitely is going to give them a further extend the lead they already had, but Cuckville at least getting a turret out of the deal. And showing that he can easily 1v1 Gisker, even if it takes a while to do. Though he is going to pay the price for sticking around. There's no way he's going to be able to get away from Penguin here. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he will get away. Oh, nope.
Oh, he's going to take a Q. He's going to try to hit the lifesteal. That Q is going to miss. That Q is going to miss. It looks like Cuckville may be able to get out. And he's going to walk away with his life thing.
First, I thought he was doomed after that first undertow hit, but he was able to scare off the scary Olaf. And there is Rift Trail returning to the Void. That'll be Baron spawning in just 10 seconds with a dragon about 2 minutes away.
Supernova not quite as behind as NCSU Prime was last game here. Only down roughly 1,700 gold. So, you know, as long as both teams play correctly, NCSU Prime continues their lead. They could be looked at closing out here sooner than later. Supernova, though, as long as they play the team fights a little bit better and look to get rid of that Victor early, could be able to find themselves back into this game. It's not quite over yet, but they definitely are playing on a back foot this time around.
Definitely need to be careful because that Shadow Visions on that Victor is extremely scary at 5-0 with the early Rylai's.
Yeah, and they forced Cuckville's ult, which is a lot of pressure loss on the map. York really relies on that Maiden to kind of create pressure in the lane because she does kill minions quite fast as well as turrets. So the rotation managed to bring that ultimate out, help bring back some pressure for the side of NCSU Prime as they're now going to look to push towards tier 2s. Poppy putting a lot of pressure in bottom lane.
Gisker's not too concerned about the fact that he's really behind NCS. That's not what Poppy wants to do. He wants to disrupt and be tanky in team fights. We see that constantly he's been not top. He's been rotating to bottom or mid to assist with taking turrets. And it's been working. We do see Dragon is up in 30 seconds. We see NCS Prime pretty much has full control of that area. They're well positioned to get as much vision down as they need. Happily going to clear out those wards. There it is. It's time. It is a air drake or is it cloud drake? Cloud drake.
Yeah, so they can't be quite as lucky as Supernova last game with the Infernal Drakes, but hey, they are going to pick up another dragon to kind of add to their arsenal and make them just a little bit stronger in this game as they're looking to pick up a cloud drake for that speed.
So that's what everybody loves, a faster Olaf. He does have that righteous glory, so he is going to be able to engage quite easily. We'll have to see if he does more speed like a Demon's Plate.
Oh, Shadow Vision's looking for the Q over the walls. Not going to get it, but it looks like his team's not going to rotate, knowing that there's an Ezreal top lane. Supernova's going to lose a tier 2 if they don't rotate fast enough. And it looks like that's what's going to happen. Supernova's going to be giving up a tier 2 to this team. Unfortunately, there's nothing they can do. They split up to try to stop the other waves. Poppy had a wave set up for her team bottom, and that's another turret going over to the side of NCSU Prime. Supernova now down 4,000 gold. NCSU Prime is extending their lead.
Penguin gonna avoid the ball, take out the ward. I have to see what Supernova can do to make a recovery here. This is not lost. They have a team that can definitely make a comeback with the Orion ultimate. And we've seen how well Yenny can play that Ezreal.
Both teams scale. right now, Supernova needs to be very aware, though, that the more time they allow for Sivir to scale, the harder this game's really going to get for them. We had said early on that the Sivir, after 2-3 items, is almost an unstoppable AD carry trait. And right now, NCSU Prime is doing a very good job at extending this game out. You know, but on the side of Supernova, Cuckville now has 2 items because of the CS lead that he has. We see the Ezreal moving on to the Iceborne Gauntlet, so hopefully, as we get closer to the 30-minute mark, we're going to see some really intense team fights, and they're going to go one way or the other. If Supernova wants to win, they need to take out this Sivir Victor early. If they don't, it'll spell GG.
Absolutely. Sivir may not have a fantastic scoreline, but is definitely still a pretty significant threat. We see that Cuckbelly has rotated to the bottom side this time now to work on that other turret. Not a whole lot Giscard can do to stop him other than delay.
Cuckville being 2 levels above this Poppy does create a problem for Poppy, but like you said, she's not looking for kills. She's just looking to keep the pressure in one lane so her team can get kills elsewhere on the map. And now they're going to rotate, they're going to look for the flash hook, but they're not going to get anything there. Philly hit a minion instead. Now they're looking for the kick on him, but there's no damage to follow up. Orianna misses the ultimate, a crucial amount of damage, as now Pluck is going to go in looking for a kill. GA being popped on Fan, and he's going to die as soon as he comes out of there. Sivir picking up 1 kill. Olaf picking up 2 kills. Supernova just not hitting the skills they need to hit to make the fights go their way. And NCSU Prime is taking the lead and running with it. Absolutely. So now they're going to start rotating the Baron and look for another objective. NCSU Prime doing a very good job playing the objective-based game. Cuckville stuck trading bottom lane with Poppy. Unfortunately, though, not really doing all that much to her. Now it looks like Supernova's looking to maybe make a steal on the backside of Baron here with the Orianna, with the Ezreal. But if Pluckin stays as good as he has been with these Smite, it won't matter, but they're going to pick up 1 kill in the process. And another kill? No, Baron? No, they're going to die in the process, so managed to pick up 1 kill. No Barons. Philly going to try to get out, but it looks like Sivir's going to pick up a kill with the Q as soon as she gets the opportunity. And she will, Sivir. Yeah, NCSU Prime, 8,000 gold above Supernova right now. So we're looking, you know, a little bit of the same kind of game, but flipped towards another team. Blue side seems to be the side that you want to be on if you want the massive gold leads. NCSU Prime playing it very well here in Game 2 of the finals. I think he's trying to just play the kick bot right now. He's just looking to grab a carry and kick him towards. The unfortunate part of the carries are so big on the side of NCSU Prime that kicking them is almost a bad thing for the team. Yeah, like we said, they have quite the front line for NCSU Prime here. It's just pressing the go button. As soon as Sivir goes in or Olaf goes in, as long as the team follows up, there's nothing Supernova can do. Supernova just trying to wait out this Baron buff and hold on to what they can and try not to lose too much, as they're now back to their base turret in the mid lane. Supernova down 9,000 gold at this point, as they're just trying to hold on and wait out this Baron buff and look to live another day. Dragon up now. Yeah, and Supernova's trying to do what they can underneath this turret, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough using the Orianna ult. Using the ultimate from Yen, it's just not going to be enough. They're going to have to just give up and in here and walk away. So unfortunately, nothing to be gained for Supernova, but everything to be gained for NCUS Prime. As Kung Fells on the backside here, looking to make a play on a Baron buffed NCUS Prime, but he's by himself. And now NCSU Prime's going to look to walk up and just go in on Supernova here, looking for a win of their own, as they're going to take down Yenyar. They're going to take down 2 on the side of Supernova. They're moving in. They're already putting out the GGs. It looks like GG's going to go over to the side of NCSU, as they're going to pick up Game 2 and force us into a Game 3 here at the Reverie Finals. And we're going to move into an... Yeah, exciting stuff. Fanatilt, Fanalit, thing that everybody wants to say.
If it's silent in dismay, it won't break this feeling down. If I conquer this my way, I'd devour, I'd surround. If it hurts you just a little, then it heals you when it's done. Disappointment is the anchor, resolution is the sun. Silent in dismay, it won't break this feeling down. If I conquer this my way, I'd devour, I'd surround. If it hurts you just a little, then it heals you when it's done. Disappointment is the anchor, resolution is the sun.
And we are back. This is the third round of our buy-in tournament. Supernova and NCSU Prime on blue and red side respectively, 1-1. The final match to see who takes this monthly buy-in.
Yeah, and we saw an exciting game from both teams. Game 1 being quite the one-sided game for Supernova when they were on blue side, but vice versa. We saw the same from NCSU Prime when they were on blue side, taking a lead of 12,000 gold and ending out the game at roughly the 29-minute mark. So it seems like blue side is the side that everybody wants to be on. So will this pan out the same direction for Supernova out there on the blue side? Or will NCSU Prime show us that it's not the side that matters, it's the players?
And there's a respect band going over to Pluck and Penguin. He was quite strong on that Olaf, kind of alleviating my concerns about Olaf play. He definitely did very well. And I mean, when NCSU Prime won, they wasn't quite as explosive as Supernova was, but they were very slow, very methodical, and they made very few mistakes, and it was enabled them to basically very easily take that game.
Yeah, and I think, like we said on this time, there's going to be a lot of a different pick and ban system now for Supernova. They know this time around that they can pick up the OP Hecarim if they want. They're on blue side, so we might see NCSU Prime ban it. But this time around, Supernova said, hey, we don't want to deal with that Olaf again. We'd rather not have something running at us that we can't stop. Let's get rid of the Rex side because we know that, Pluckin has made quite the steals with it. But on the side of NCSU Prime, we see them getting rid of Shen and Trundle, two bans specifically aimed at Cookville. They want to see him play York again because they know that last game he didn't really make quite the team impact.
Yeah,
So we're probably going to see
able
it.
to take control of the lane, but Gisker did a very good job at just stalling him out and make sure he couldn't easily take objectives. There's the Karma Band aimed at Hani. They're leaving Bard open this time. And will this be a Hecarim ban? Are they going to leave it open? Because we've seen... Nope, there it is. We've seen how powerful Fan of Tilt can be on that Hecarim, so they are going to go ahead and opt to make sure that he can't use it.
Absolutely. So there's not going to be a Hecarim we're going to see in this map. And this time around, we're not going to see Karma in the bottom lane. So that's a new ban that we're seeing come out for game 3. They want to try to change up that bottom lane dynamic. Curious to see what the first pick's going to be on the side of Supernova, though.
There are a number of picks that are open. If we've mentioned that they are kind of... Oh, there's the Caitlyn, actually. They're going to go ahead and take the Caitlyn instead of the Ezreal this time, despite how well Yenny's been doing on Ezreal. So it makes me curious what Barcode is going to play as the reverse of that lane.
Absolutely. So this time around, we're going to see a new AD carry in the bottom lane for Supernova. This time they're going to pick up Caitlyn, and they're going to try out this kind of ranged lane. I'm curious to see now what NCSU Prime's going to pick up. Karma now off the map. So will they look to pick up the Nami?
Yep,
Looks like we're going to get...
to the Poppy. Not afraid to pick
Yeah.
it up. And there's the Ivern that has been banned every game since basically this series has started.
Yeah, so you can only get rid of so many picks from this jungler. He's shown that he's got quite the champion pool. So this time he's going to pull out the Ivern. First time Ivern we're going to see here in the finals for Reverie. So I'm very excited to see how it kind of pans out. And like you said, Gisgard is going to be on Poppy yet again, knowing that he can play it and kind of play that support kind of top for his team.
He just needs to be a tank and then kind of wall off the rest of the enemy teams with that ultimate, with the E. Enable some strong protecting plays. And that does make me curious as to see what Fansel is. He going to go back to the Lee Sin, or is he going to play something else? They still have 10 seconds to pick something. They're kind of slowly taking the discussion. This is the last chance. It is actually going to be an Elite's jungle. And there's that Alistar we were thinking we were going to see earlier.
Absolutely. So the Alistar Caitlyn lane is quite a strong lane. It provides a lot of CC as well as a lot of damage if played correctly. So I'm excited to see how that lane kind of pans out. We're going to see Fan this time on Elise. A pretty known power pick for the jungle when, some of the stronger picks like Hecarim and Olaf are down. It's a pretty safe pick to go with, especially into Ivern. Ivern's going to provide a lot of CC. So they definitely want something that if they do get counter invaded can either dish the damage out back or be able to walk away from the fight. So two more picks on the side of Supernova that, pretty self-explanatory. But this time we're going to see a Jinx hover on the side of NCSU Prime as well as a Victor.
Well, Chavez makes a return to the Victor. He had very strong plays that last game. And Barcode changing up once again. He's shown that he also has a fairly deep AD carry pool because yesterday he played 3 games that we saw, and every single game was a different carry. And today is no exception.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it said in the beginning that Shadow Visions did not have a small champion pool. He's definitely hip to what is currently meta. Ari definitely being one of his favorite mid laners and something that he's quite known for. But this Victor, he's definitely making a statement for that as well, as he's going to pick up Victor for the second time here and look to follow in the footsteps of the damage that he did earlier.
Absolutely. If he can do the same thing as he did last game, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. it makes me curious to see what they are going to pick up as the mid laner for the side of Supernova. They need a mid laner. They need a top laner. Filthy once again making a return to Ari, possibly? No? Maybe Malzahar. Make up your mind. 3 seconds left.
Yeah, and we're going to see the Nautilus top lane pick this time around. So a pick that is somewhat built like Poppy. It's just to be a tank. It's just to be team fight oriented. They're actually looking to just peel for Caitlyn and let her dish out the damage. The Malzahar strictly for the in lane CC for the Victor. Something that, they can keep their distance with and just kill him if need be, not allow him to walk around blood here. They will with the Malzahar? They
There it
will.
is.
Malzahar's going to take the first blood with the Space Aids.
Supernova making a very nice rotation to that bottom side, making sure that they can secure that first blood, popping both flash and heal on Barcode.
Absolutely. So they're going to get the flash heal out of Jinx, as you said, but they're also NCSU Prime going to take some summoner spells in their own hands as they take away the flash ignite from the Alistar as well as the ghost from Malzahar.
It's kind of a shout out to Fan of Tilt there. That was a really nice cocoon of locking down Barcode for as long as they did. Henning might be in trouble here though.
And some really good trap placement from Yen is going to help him pick up another kill here in the bottom lane as he's now 1-0-1, asserting his dominance here on the Caitlyn.
And it's certainly going to give Supernova the lead that they want at the very start of this game in this best of 3 in the last game.
Absolutely. Supernova here. They're going to say, hey, if we're on blue side, we're going to set the pace this time. We're not going to wait for plays to be made by NCSU Prime and us to answer. Both teams, though, coming out strong here.
Now we see Ivern making a nice rotation to that top side. Cuck Valley could be in trouble here.
This time around, he's got flash. He doesn't have ghost, so he may be able to get out, but he's going to put himself on the wall to get stunned by Ivern and then get stunned by Poppy, the follow-up CC, but he's going to be quite all right.
Well, it's also worth noting that Pluck and Penguin did steal the blue buff away from Fan of Tilt. Fan of Tilt made a rotation straight to that bottom side as soon as picking up that red buff. Or not, maybe not right at that red buff, but did gank that very early, which, of course, was obviously a good play. Pluck and Penguin still kind of hanging around in that Reverie to clean up the scare, possibly.
And they're going to look for a flash pulverize, but not find the Jinx. The Bard's going to find a double stun here. They're going to ignite. Yen's going to look to put some damage here. But right now, they're losing the trade. Right there, starting their dominance. NCSU Prime said, hey, this is still our lane. This is still my Bard.
Henny, despite the obviously the double deaths on their side, still showing no fear, going right in and harassing away.
Absolutely. Barcode's going to put down some more damage there on Yen, using those rocket autos to do that. Haney looking to put some Qs and stun him up, but they're just going to heal back up. That Warlord's definitely working in favor of Yen.
Filthy doing Malzahar things and pushing that wave up. Those Shadow Visions obviously not having too much struggle there. Is up quite a bit up in CS. Another roam though.
Yeah, and this time they're going to spot him out on a ward. He's going to know that he's going to back up away from that. But if they're not careful, they won't be seeing the elites. They will. They've got the vision for it. They're going to go again with the flash pulverize here. Throwing down the ignite. Yen getting caught by the Jinx trap, though. Doesn't manage to land the Q. Fan's going to look to go in on the kill. He's not going to have. Right now, Fan's got no flash, but he's got a heal. He's going to get killed by the Bard, but he's going to land a cocoon. Will he live long enough? He will, just to get away from the Poppy. The Poppy's going to flash, but the pulverize is going to save Fan's life.
Really doing Alistair things and saving lives. Fan of Tilt must be a little terrified. He's almost dead there.
TP for TP here, though. Looks like we're safe on both sides of the team. Nobody going down. A lot of summoners are now being taken away yet again. Yen looking to put down some damage on this Bard as Jinx is preparing to back with the low amount of health that she has.
Getting some heals from the Bard, but still very low health. Needs to be very careful. And we do see Shadow Edge is level 6 now. And so is Filthy. Oh, speaking of level 6, there's that ultimate.
Filthy not paying attention to the Ivern. Ivern behind him. Throws down the stun. Will he pick up the kill? Shadow Vision's looking to move the ult towards him, but unfortunately, taking 3 tower shots isn't going to pick up that kill in the mid lane.
Shadow Edge is probably going to have to back here, most likely. He is very high up in CS. He's going to be able to get a decent amount of items here. Yenny and Philly kind of whittling away at that bottom turret. It's not quite dead yet, but it's getting there.
Cavell and this Poppy just doing tank things, building their items together. One going for the Sunfire Cape, the other going for the Spirit Visage.
Both items obviously having their own individual merits.
Absolutely. Supernova right now up roughly 1,000 gold, just based off the 2 kills that they have. Both teams, though, doing very well in CS, just holding on, looking for that mid game. Philly, though, is going to be spotted out by a ward, but he's going to get the flash pulver, or he's going to get the pulverize. into the kill. And he's going to flash over the traps to get the kill. Yenny are picking up one, looking for another one as Jinx is doing a good amount of damage with her rockets, but she's just going to look to walk away, but the flash pulverize again. Looking to pick up a kill and not find anything.
Philly forcing that flash is overall a pretty good thing, but Hanny, unfortunately, not getting a little caught out there, not expecting Philly just to be chilling in that bush.
Absolutely, and Cuckville is just going to keep throwing down damage onto Poppy. Poppy's going to keep throwing down damage onto the Nautilus. Fan a little caught out here by the Ivern. The Ivern's going to miss his stun. Might be able to just walk out. He turned around. That might have spelled danger for him as Shadowvengeance is just rotating down.
Nope, directed camera deciding that top lane is way more important. When it seems that nothing happened in the bottom side, so maybe it was right. Shadowvengeance still has control of that lane in terms of CS. He's significantly further ahead of Filthy, though. To be fair, Filthy has roamed twice to that bottom side, so it's not a huge surprise that he would be a little behind in CS. Looks like Henny and Barcode slowly rotating to that top side. Or to the mid lane, I should say.
Supernova looking to catch Jinx out as Fan goes all in, looking to put massive amount of damage. He's gonna go up and come down on it. Will it be enough? Caitlyn also comes out, but unfortunately isn't gonna pick up the kill as Fan picks it up on the Elise. They're now using the Nautilus CC damage onto Shadowvengeance. They're gonna stun him with the passive. They're going to manage to push away the Ivern to allow for Caitlyn to pick up the kill with her ult. They're now looking for a kill on the Ivern as Ivern is very low. Fan's gonna look to repel and come down. Instead, he's gonna flash Q. Now he's looking to cocoon Q as all this other fighting is going on here in the mid lane, but Poppy is going to get tickled by this Caitlyn, unfortunately. Fan still going for this Ivern. Ivern's going to miss the stun. Unfortunately, Fan not able to pick up the kill as Ivern's just going to walk his happy self away.
Still, though, that is going to be Supernova picking up another 3 kills, further extending their lead, making this kind of basically a repeated trend. Nothing too surprising. There's Daisy whacking away at Fanatil. There's the knockout.
And he's going to get killed by Daisy?
Looks like it. That's going to be picking up that red buff. That is going to be the first kill of the game for NCSU Prime. Fanatil's getting a little greedy.
Yeah, Fan wanted to kill so badly on Ivern, and then when he couldn't get it, he turned around and looked for his jungle, but wasn't paying attention to the rotation coming from the mid lane as there were still 4 people present. Supernova, though, 5-1, up roughly 1.7 thousand gold. Now they're looking to pick up their first Infernal Drake, though, here in the series, as they're going for it here. NCS2 Prime has all 5, rotated down towards it. Supernova, unfortunately, has no answer to it, as they do not have the rotation necessary. First Dragon going over to NCSU Prime.
So NCSU Prime, not quite every day, obviously. That Drake is going to help out very significantly. And so we didn't get a chance to talk about it really, but Fanatil actually had a really good play during that team fight where he used the repel to dodge the Bard stun, which really enabled him to basically finish off Barcode, and the fight just kind of, went the way it did as things went along. Oh, flash from Filthy.
They're looking for a kill. They're not going to land the cocoon. They're not going to be able to get in range of the Malzahar ult, so Shadowvision is going to be able to walk out safely.
They had 3 people there. They really, really want to make sure Shadowvision doesn't explode like he did in the previous game.
Absolutely. They're putting a lot of pressure here in the mid lane on him, like you said, to avoid Shadowvisions from taking control of the game with this victor like he did last game, going 5-0 by the 13-minute mark.
Obviously, it's not quite at the same result so far, but he does have that CS lead. He obviously is a skilled player, so they don't want to give him any opportunities to take a lead.
Absolutely, as Cuckville is going to look to put down some damage and push back out his top lane here, playing the noodle fight with his fellow Poppy.
Barcode getting some CS. He's a little behind the Yenny because of those 2 deaths. But they're not down and out just yet. It is a Jinx, so late game it's going to be able to put out pretty high DPS. Top lane noodle fights. It is worth noting that Cuckville does have a lead in CS, though. But beyond that, there is not a whole ton of things to note about that top side.
Yeniar just throwing down his damage here in the bottom lane onto Jinx, but Jinx is just going to get healed up by Bard. But Fan in the bottom lane, and no vision to be seen of him. If he moves up, though, NCSU probably won't be able to spot him out, but Fan's going to play to this backside, knowing that the wave is moving towards Supernova, and just going to opt to not gank him back out.
Wisely deciding that he has better things to do, such as take that red buff. Yenny trying to get some more poke in. There is a ping. Penguin is there, but it looks like that Supernova is aware he is there. There is a ward right outside that bush. They probably saw him walk in. Yenny playing a little more passively because they still are not completely aware of where Penguin is on that Ivern. Penguin just can't seem to make him out if he wants to back or not. Oh no.
And they're going to pop Ghost and go towards the Victor. Victor's going to retaliate with a Ghost of his own and stay out of range of that Malzahar ult. Doing a really good job of avoiding being ganked over and over here. But they are causing a lot of pressure on the Victor.
Savage is like, just leave me alone. Go take your
Yen
campfire
throwing
somewhere
down.
else.
Yen throwing some damage down onto the Bard here. They're just going to keep pushing towards this turret. Hopefully getting hit here shortly.
There is a return to the bottom side by Fanatil.
Still have that ward in the upper bush. They're going to see Fan rotate up, but they're probably going to back away from the turret as Philly pops ult and goes in, pulverizes Handy backward. Handy's going to hit an amazing ult, but Fan's going to manage to avoid it by repelling upward. Ivern looking for a kill mid lane under the Malzahar, but unfortunately isn't going to find anything as they pick up a kill and a turret down in the bottom lane.
Fanatil's repels for dodging stuff have been so on point.
They're going to go again on Filthy here. Filthy having no flash, no ghost, but he's going to ult Shadow Vision just to buy time for Cuckville to get there. An amazing flash over to the wall by Shadow Vision as he ults and manages to pick up the kill on Malzahar and stay alive.
There's a bit of
But
Vincent
Fan
going
looking
on
to
here.
retaliate.
Good stun by Penguin there, but here comes the repel again.
Missing the ult by an inch there for the Caitlyn. Poppy pushing away Fan. As now they look to push it on this mid lane. Yenyar though, no mana to be had.
Does have those auto attacks though.
Cuckville's a little deep here, no ultimate to be had. Fan, no mana, no health. Supernova playing a real dangerous game around this mid lane turret. It's just going to opt to back out as they have that bottom lane pushing towards tier 2.
And Shadow Vision's also decided that he is going to go ahead and back after escaping with no health at all.
Absolutely. So right now the game in favor of Supernova as they are up roughly 3,000 gold over NCSU Prime, but it's far from over as we've seen as NCSU Prime is picking up little achievements where they can, picking up a kill in the mid lane by an epic flash ultimate from their mid laner Shadow Visions.
They almost paid for it, but they did a very good job of making Shadow Visions didn't die. Good overall protective play by Penguin and Giskard. And things are slowly resetting. We see that Supernova is going to rotate to the bottom side. That bottom turret is, or sorry, it's middle side. Not really a side, is it? To the middle lane, because that bottom turret on the bot side is down. Oh my. I think I hit a key. All right,
Absolutely.
What time are you at right now? Just so
1642, 1643.
I am behind a little bit. I accidentally hit the damn new timer thing they have set up. 1648.
Malzahar is going to flash forward, looking for a kill on to Shadow Visions. He's going to get it to Space Age. He's going to proc and get him the damage that he needs, but Poppy's there to retaliate as there's now 5 people in the mid lane for the Malzahar. Malzahar's going to die to a Jinx rocket. Cuckville TPing in, not going to find the hook that he needs onto the Jinx. Fan getting stunned up by the Bard. Bard has no ult now. Cuckville now getting stunned by Poppy, but doesn't care because he's just tanky enough. Daisy doing Daisy things and putting down a good amount of CC onto Supernova. Supernova now starting to have the fight turned back around on them by NCSU Prime, but they continue to move forward onto this mid lane turret. Cuckville, he's gonna grab Bard, but is he a little bit too deep here? Cuckville just not tanky enough to just keep taking turret shots over and over. Is he gonna be able to walk out with his life? Kalen's gonna pick up the turret. They're gonna pulverize Ivern backwards. They're gonna put the ignite down on Ivern. Ivern still not going down though with the shield. Fan's gonna manage to pick up 1. Fan's gonna pick up 2 onto the Bard. They're managing to CC long enough and stay alive long enough to pick up 3 as Supernova's coming out. 3 to 1.
definitely Supernova taking firm control. Shadow Visions is back, though.
Shadow Vision's now looking to clean up, but he's going to get stuck on a trap in the process of trying to clean up. He popped, goes looking for kills, but it's going to get stopped by the Caitlyn trap. Score now, 10-3 in favor of Supernova.
Barely tanky enough to tank that turret for just as long as he needed to. Did not go down despite being so close. And Fanatilt once again having a very good overall positioning, able to pick up 2 kills in that fight.
Filthy's going to manage to stop the end of the back on Poppy. Poppy's going to press her W and slowly walk away, but that just bought time for the top wave to be pushed.
It is going to delay Giskert's back by a bit. He does have that Spirit Visage, so he didn't take too much damage there. But it's definitely a very dangerous situation.
A flash pulverized from Philly as they're looking for the stun from the Alistar Noose passive. They're going to get the stun, but he's still going to manage to go through the wall anyways. They're now going to pick up an Infernal Drake of their own to even out the Dragons here in Game 3. Ooh. Jinx Rocket looking for the steal, but isn't going to find it as it gets down to 15 health.
Very, very good attempted steal. So close. 15 health left on that Drake after the rocket hit. That is going to be... That puts Supernova at about a 4K lead. In terms of... Actually, no, about a 5K lead. In terms of
yeah, 5,000 gold. Supernova showing why blue side is the strong side.
Overall, it's only really been the bottom lane that's been struggling. To be fair, that's because there's been a lot of pressure put down on that side.
Yeah, Supernova this time around took their pressure and looked to put it elsewhere. Last game we saw Fan on Lee Sin putting a lot of pressure top lane, hoping to get Cuckvel in a moving fashion. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. They were getting caught out a lot more everywhere else on the map without his pressure. So Fan putting his pressure mid, putting his pressure bottom lane, manages to kind of set the driver's seat up for Supernova and its carries.
We see a rotation to the top side by the bottom side of Supernova.
And Poppy
very easily going to take that turret.
Yeah, Poppy had to back, unfortunately, to pick up an item for herself. But in backing, she's giving up the top. Tier 1 turret over to Supernova. Supernova now extending their lead. Almost out 5,000 gold here. They're going to pick up the extra CS behind it.
That is going to give them 3 turrets to 0. Gives them a nice, strong lead.
Yeah, and Supernova's going to start throwing their vision down in the enemy side jungle of NCSU Prime. Looking to maybe catch out this Jinx, who's just walking, not paying attention, and Cocoon spells death. There's now 3 people.
Not quite aware of where the enemy team was, and just gets melted by that Infinity Edge Caitlyn.
And now Supernova, they're going to look to rotate their players to the mid lane looking for tier 2 as Cuckvel sets himself up. They're going to pick up a red buff on their way out as a constellation prize.
We do see that Filthy is pushing that wave up, and here they come. Without Barcode, they're going to have a really hard time doing any kind of fighting here.
Yeah, they're relying a lot on Shadow Vision, but Shadow Vision is immediately going to get Malzahar flash ulted. Yunyar's going to pick up 1. They're going to look to try to buy some time for Barcode to come back, but unfortunately, will it be enough without tanky? Nautilus just doing his job and playing tank while they pick up a turret. Yen, he's going to pick up a turret here. Will Cuckvel go down? He won't. He'll flash away Daisy, trying to find the CC. They're going to kill Daisy as just an extra body. They're now looking for a kill on Barcode. Bocard on the side doing as much damage as he can. Already using the Jinx rocket early on. Supernova picking up a tier 2 and walking themselves out.
And Supernova took a lot of damage there, but they did a really good job making sure that no one took enough damage to die. And we just see how ridiculously durable Cuckvel is. He would sat there and tanked them for a good, 10 seconds without dying. Would eventually flash in the end, but he lived.
Yeah, and this time around, the Malzahar pick strictly to keep Shadow Visions from bursting the rest of the team down and having his free reign on this Victor. Very well played by Supernova.
It'll be interesting to see if Shadow Visions opts to pick up a Quicksilver Sash. Would not be too unusual if that kind of play continues to happen. The only side objective right now is going to be Baron, but it is obviously a risky play to try and take Baron at this point. Or maybe they could sneak it somehow. Though I think sneaking a Baron at this point is very unlikely.
Right now, Baron isn't quite the call that NCSU Prime wants to make. They don't have a very good Baron taking team. Jinx has only got 1 item. She only has a Hurricane. She would need 2 more to even do a whole good amount of damage to it. Supernova, on the other hand, though, with the Malzahar, Elise, and Caitlyn, does have a Baron taking team. So NCSU Prime needs to stay woke to the idea of Baron being taken here.
They are staying near that. They are keeping it warded. There is a trinket warded in the pit. You're seeing Philly doing a good job of keeping vision control up in that jungle. Overall, Cuckville also still on that bottom side, still pushing up. Not a whole lot. It's basically the same trend. Gisco is just going to make sure the lane doesn't get pushed too hard.
Supernova looking to find somebody with the Elise Cocoon. Not going to find anybody, so they're just going to back out and start moving towards their mid lane that's pushing. As Cuckville creates pressure in the bottom lane against this Poppy. Poppy doing Poppy things, just trying to hold her own as she did before.
Overall, both top laners having basically overall the same game. The only slight differences is assisted CS.
Supernova now rotating for tier 2 as they know Cookville has a wave that they can work with. They know Poppy can't go in on him right now. He's so tanky. Shadowfish is going to clear the wave and try to create some pressure away from this tier 2 for his team. Cookville is just going to tank a couple shots as they put some more damage down on it, but they have a wave coming.
With the Rune Turricade and that Infinity Edge, seeing that Yandy is going to be able to clear out that wave very quickly.
They're going to throw out the Nautilus Hook, not catch anybody, so they're just going to slow it down a little bit. He's going to get caught by a Jinx Trap. He's going to have to flash away from the Bard Stun in fear of his life.
Well, they did do an enormous amount. Oh, there it is.
Philly's going to go in with a flash pull right. He's going to catch Shadow Vision. Shadow Vision is going to go down. They're going to catch Bard. Bard's going to go down to the Malzahar out. They're now just throwing damage at Poppy. They're going to pick up a turret as they move forward. They're looking for the kill on Poppy. Will they find it? They won't. Fanatiel's going to hit Ivern with his Cocoon, but he's going to go down to the Yenyar auto.
We're seeing a bit of a repeating trend from yesterday where Shadow Vision sometimes positions in a spot that he just barely gets caught.
Yeah, and Cuckville and them, they're doing what they need to do as Alistair, Nautilus, they're being tanks, they're being frontliners. Poppy unfortunately can't do anything as they're going to pick up a tier 3 turret and now they're going to take an inhibitor and back themselves on out.
And it's going to be 25 minutes. That bottom inhibitor is down. It is really going to enable them an opportunity to basically position for a Baron very safely.
Yeah, Supernova now up 11,000 gold over NCSU Prime. Like we said, blue side, strong side. We're about at the same point that both these teams are at when they found their 11,000 gold leads, as they're just going to clean up the rest of the objectives on the map now.
Still, both carries on the side of NCSU Prime still not quite finishing their second item. The Rylai's for Shadow Visions and then Infinity Edge for Barcode.
Yeah, Supernova's going to back with a good amount of gold in their pocket after all those shutdowns and inhibitor pickups.
Yeah, you're seeing that Giscard is going to stay on that bottom side, keep those waves pushed up. He has the teleport, so he's going to be able to get to those team fights when he needs to be. Now we see the rotations to that Baron pit. We see Philly getting control of the vision. Penguin doing the Ivern thing, getting a stun off, but he could be in trouble here.
Yeah, and Yen's going to pick up a kill on Ivern as Ivern is caught sleeping here in his own jungle. Yen is going to be saved by the Bard ult as they were going to put more damage down on him, stunning him in stunning fashion as they're now looking to clean up NCSU Prime. They're going to find 3 kills here, 4 kills here. Now they're looking for the 5th on the Bard. Yen with the Q over the wall is going to find that, and they're looking now to push in mid and pick up a second inhibitor.
Oh, they could possibly just look to end the game.
Or just end through bottom.
Yep,
He's waiting for the net. He's going to net over, and he's going to start doing some damage. And he's going to look to end the game as his team's following him forward.
Philly just going to pop the ultimate and walk through that turret. And with that Caitlyn DPS there, easily going to be able to kill these turrets.
Absolutely. Ivern's now up. He puts down a bush. He's going to try to buy some time. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's any time that can be bought for this game through here as Supernova now is going to look to close it out as the rest of NCSU Prime's going to come up. They're going to make some last-ditch effort here. Unfortunately, you have the 2 tankiest members standing in front of you. Redemption's going to go down. It's going to give them a little bit of health. They're trying to buy some time with some kills, but it looks like that's going to be GG going over to Supernova 2-1 here in the Reverie Cash Finals.
A valiant effort by NCSU Prime, but unfortunately, the repeating trend of blue side, strong side was enough that they were not able to get control of that game. And congratulations to Supernova for taking the victory for this tournament. on that note, that is going to be it for the evening, guys. Thank you for watching. Thanks for Combs for stopping by and helping out. Howie's happy to have some extra help.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you guys having me tonight. It was some great games, and I'm glad to see, some always wonderful talent coming out here for the Reverie tournaments, and I hope to see more teams, come out to play.
Absolutely. Before we go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Some of you guys may have noticed the tiny little commercials we did between games. Basically, we do have Battlefly, which is the website we use to basically create our brackets and run our tournaments. There's I've forgotten the name now. I actually have to think about it for a second. Vibi, which is the website we use to create our highlight reels. No software needed. You just go to the website, you plug in a video, create a highlight reel, done. And then last but certainly not least, we have a LOL history app, which is an application that goes onto Android or iPhone, and you can use it as a summoner lookup tool. And with that, that's going to be it for the evening, guys. We have another tournament once again next week. I hope we can see you guys there. If you're interested, definitely sign up. I'd love to cast your games. And that's going to be it for the evening, guys. Thanks for joining us.